health, we will take action.
More broadly, Health Secretary Javier Becerra says everything is on the table, including possible travel vouchers for women in states that ban abortion. He also wants to boost access to medication abortions as part of what he's calling an action plan. The Capitol Riot Committee begins a surprise hearing at this hour, just a day after announcing new evidence in the probe. The Select Committee set to hear from a top aide to former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, while President Biden is at a NATO meeting in Spain, emphasizing a shared effort to boost defense capabilities.
We're going to work on an agreement to increase the number of U.S. naval destroyers stationed at Spain's Rota Naval Base, which will also enhance the bilateral defensive relationship between Spain and the United States.
The French president condemning Russia's deadly airstrike on a crowded shopping mall in Ukraine as a, quote, new war crime, and vowing that Western support for Ukraine will not waver. A former congressman just sentenced for lying to federal authorities about an illegal campaign contribution. Nebraska Republican Jeff Fortenberry gets 2 years probation, plus a fine and community service. He resigned in March, shortly after being convicted of corruption. Today, voters are picking a replacement in a special election. 7 other states have elections today, too. Primaries and runoffs. America is listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Giving it your all on the court? Make sure you have the right partner by your side. Highland's Leg Cramps Quick Dissolve Tablets, America's #1 leg cramp relief solution for over 10 years. No water needed, no stomach upset, just fast, effective relief. Also available in caplets. Highland's Leg Cramps, to healthy competition and beyond. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Lots of sunshine, pleasant temperatures, pleasant humidity levels, 85 for the high. That is a touch below average. Tonight, clear skies, beautiful evening, 62 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny, great morning. Now it's a little warmer, a little more humid Wednesday afternoon, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. 95 with tons of humidity back Thursday and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
When you're in the car, 97.1 is here to help you make time. With dependable traffic every weekday with Sue Thomas.
Road work will continue 270 at Lindbergh, and they'll have a lane down in each direction.
Sue Thomas and dependable traffic.
We did have a report of a possible vehicle fire.
Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, your solution to in-home traffic.
Both look great from out west into downtown.
Every weekday on 97.1 FM Talk.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar. And maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Mark Cox here. Join me as we head to enchanting Germany to see fairy tale castles like Neuschwanstein and picturesque Bavarian villages, medieval Munich, the world-famous Hofbrauhaus, even Mozart's Salzburg in Austria, too. Join me this fall, $49.49. That includes your airfare. Call 888-733-9494 or go online today to conservativetours.com. That's conservativetours.com.
This is Mike Carter. Everyday hardworking Missourians suffer from out-of-control inflation lately. We feel it at the gas pump, often spending an extra $50 or $100 to drive to work. If you've tried to buy a used car or a pickup truck recently, you discovered they are in short supply and you'll end up paying a lot more. Young couples looking to buy a starter home find themselves having to bid above the asking price to have a chance to get their first home. Just feeding your family is harder with grocery bills up almost a third. I'm Mike Carter, Republican candidate for state Senate in the 10th District. As a husband and a father, I know what it takes to provide for your family, working long hours only to see the extra money you made from a raise disappear from inflation. The last thing Missouri families need are higher taxes. You've had to tighten your belt, and state government needs to do the same. As your state senator, I'll make sure you get to keep more of your hard-earned dollars. Go to MikeCarter.com for more information, paid for by Team Mike Carter, Mike Carter Treasurer.
When you discover a new favorite bottle of Cabernet or bourbon at Total Wine, you'll discover a whole lot more. So explore the wondrous selection and totally low prices at TotalWine.com, where you'll love what you find. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly, B21.
Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Find the car you want, new or used. Get it at Clement, get pre-approved. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. ClementAutoGroup.com.
Listen on the Odyssey app and rewind whenever you'd like. Or catch up on entire shows within 24 hours of air. 97.1 FM Talk. Experience the rewind with the Odyssey app.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
This is the Annie Fry Show. My name is Ryan Wiggins, in for Annie Fry today, very deliberately, because when looking at the calendar, we looked at Tuesday and said, you know what? Yes, she's on vacation, but today is Illinois primary day, so we got to get the Missouri guys out of here for a little bit.
Yes.
We got to focus on Illinois today.
Just Illinois.
Brad and I are from Illinois, so we're going to be focusing on that today. Now, if you're from Missouri and you're listening and you go, oh, God, here we go.
No, we need your support.
We need your support because when you look across the river, if you don't vote, if you don't participate in the democratic process, this is your future, Missouri.
Right.
And I'm kind of kidding because Illinois is actually trending in a good direction. We actually have a chance to take some big races this year. And one of those is the Illinois governor's race. Now, among the top 3 candidates, my question for you, if you're listening, especially if you're voting today in the Illinois primary, is who are you going to vote for? And among those top 3 candidates, we got Darren Bailey, we got Richard Irvin, and we got Jesse Sullivan. And so we'll go to the phones and just ask the question, who are you going to vote for in the GOP primary? You're live with 97.1. Who are you voting for?
Hey, well, this is Jesse Sullivan, so I'm definitely voting for myself.
Oh, man, that seems kind of biased. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jesse Sullivan. Yeah, thanks for joining us on the Annie Fry Show today.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me.
So I'm sure you're looking at polls, too. How you feeling going into that today?
We're feeling great. You know, we're surging at the right time. Honestly, people want a true conservative that can win. And Richard Irvin's not a true conservative, and Darren Bailey can't win. It's the reason J.B. Pritzker spent millions of dollars doing this old Democrat trick of trying to find your weakest candidate that you can beat in the general and propping them up with positive ads. So, but really at historic levels in Illinois. So I'm the true conservative that can win this race.
Jesse Sullivan, so are you kind of the outsider candidate? Because we got Darren Bailey, who's, of course, a politician already in Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
We've got Richard Irvin, who is in Northern Illinois, who's already the mayor. But you're kind of the outsider, right?
Yeah, I've never been in politics before, and honestly, I hate it. I want to be an anti-politician because when you're in Illinois, you don't have a whole lot of respect for these politicians that have taken everything I love about my home and driven it into the ground. And so I'm decided to stand up and try to fight back because we need more patriots and less politicians in office.
Jesse, as you're kind of making your final case today, is a lot of people have already voted. A lot of people are still going to vote. I'm going to vote when we get done with the show today. A lot of people still on the fence. I look at the polls and I see undecided. What is your case that you're the best candidate to beat J.B. Pritzker in November?
Yeah, I'm a Central Illinois guy. I grew up working on a farm, one of 8 kids. I learned these values of faith, family, service. We have to get faith and family values back in our politics again. The far left is trying to push God and devalue the American family, push God out of politics. We're going to bring them right back to the center of things. And also, I'm ready to lead on day one. I was an Army civilian over in Afghanistan. I helped set up local police forces. We're going to make our streets safe by supporting police. On the business side, I've created jobs around the world, backing entrepreneurs. I'm going to create the jobs of the future in Illinois. And most importantly, when it comes to our kids' education, I'm going to get this sexual and racial indoctrination of our kids out of the schools. That's one of the biggest differences between Darren Bailey and myself. He said, I don't like it, but if they want to teach it at the local level, I'll let them. I say, over my dead body, we are not going to do this. I am going to ban CRT, ban this sexual indoctrination of our kids. We need a conservative fighter. So if you want the Ron DeSantis of the Midwest, then I'm your guy.
Among the top 3, which you are in, among polling, Darren Bailey, Richard Irvin, and yourself, Jesse Sullivan, I have seen what you just said, which is that Democrat money has come in that's probably coming from Pritzker or the Democratic machine in Illinois in some way to kind of backhandedly support Darren Bailey because they see him as their preferred candidate to face off in November. Early on, I think they were kind of including you in that camp. They were saying, well, Jesse Sullivan, he may be a threat too. So they were coming out with some attack ads against you about your support for Barack Obama and things like that. If voters have seen that, how do you address that?
Yeah, I went to St. Louis University, actually, and have not voted for a Democrat since then in college. And I learned my lesson. Handouts, they create dependency. They don't create freedom and opportunity. I am so pro-life, and my wife and I are foster parents, and we really want to fight back and stand up for the unborn. And Democrats always want to blame guns for everything. It's not guns. We need fathers back in the home. And it's really about faith and family values. And that's what we're fighting for. For me, this whole race is about my love of God and trying to bring those values back in our society into our politics.
Jesse, assuming you would be the candidate, so if you come out of this today as the GOP nominee, what is the number one issue you focus on facing off against Pritzker? Where is he most vulnerable? And I should say more importantly, what does Illinois need the most out of a GOP governor?
Yeah, so one, when you talk about public safety, I am going to repeal this anti-police bill that J.B. Pritzker passed through. Anything that coddles criminals, I'm going to surge the National Guard into our cities and treat it like the crisis it is. And we have the most number of active sheriffs around the state backing me because I'm pro law enforcement because of my time setting up local police forces over in Afghanistan. And so that's really number one, but also our taxes are ridiculous. And I'm the only candidate in this race that vowed not to raise taxes. I signed a taxpayer protection pledge. Darren Bailey, the other top candidate, it's really between the two of us. He refused to sign it. I pushed him in a debate to do it, and he wouldn't do it. And he's raised property taxes 14 times, and when he was on the local school board. And so why won't people think he'll raise them a 15th time? But I've signed a vow saying I won't do it.
Jesse Sullivan on the phone with us. He is contender for the GOP primary race, which is ending today. So if you haven't voted and you're an Illinois resident, do that for sure. As far as day one priorities, we're talking about the possibility of having a Republican governor in Illinois. It's not the first time that would happen, but it's certainly a little more rare that we have a GOP governor in Illinois. What would you be able to do day one? What are you promising to voters that if you're elected, day one, you would step in and do what?
No more vaccine mandates, no more mask mandates. We're going to be the land of the free again in Illinois. Also, I am going to clean house at the Illinois State Board of Education to get this indoctrination out of our schools. I'm going to ban CRT and the sexual indoctrination of our kids. You look at Glenn Youngkin. He signed a bill similar saying he's going to ban CRT cut off state funding to schools that are going to teach it. So I'm going to do the same. We need a bold conservative fighter in the governor's office, and those are some of the priorities I'm going to take on day one.
How much does the corruption narrative play into this? Because I think everybody in Illinois, regardless of party, knows that we have a problem in Illinois, and obviously Madigan is the face of that right now. Well, he has been the face of it for most of my lifetime, in fact. But we have a problem. How do you deal with that as Governor Jesse Sullivan?
Yeah, so Madigan has been ruining the state of Illinois longer than I've been alive. And really, we know it's more of a symbolic passing, him being out of office. Corruption's alive and well, but it's time for next generation conservatives to step up and take over leadership. So I'm going to be recruiting an entire new generation of conservative leaders in Illinois across the legislature. We came up with an anti-corruption plan. Actually, the former legislative inspector general, who's the one responsible for rooting out corruption, she said this is a paper tiger job. She quit in protest. Well, she backed our campaign, said, you are the only one who doesn't owe anybody anything in this system, and I don't, and I'm going to root it all out.
Jesse Sullivan, let's talk about the economics of Illinois, because aside from corruption, I think that's the one issue that's on everybody's mind. And again, across parties, everybody knows that we have a corruption problem. I think everybody knows we have a crime problem, which you addressed. Everybody knows we have economic problems too. 3 of the biggest companies in Illinois have left the state in the last, month and a half or so. How would you signal to companies that things are different now? Because we got to stop the bleeding somewhere.
Oh, amen. So this is my background. I came back from Afghanistan and I went out to Stanford Business School for 2 years. And then I came back to Central Illinois to raise my family the way I was raised and grow this business to back entrepreneurs around the world to create jobs. Now we've lost Caterpillar, an iconic company, Boeing, now Citadel. We're just going to keep bleeding companies until we say we are going to look more like Texas and Florida, not New York and California. So in addition to signing the Taxpayer Protection Pledge, I've said I'm going to cut our budget by $10 billion. And I'm going to do it through pension reform. I'm going to do it through consolidation, a hiring freeze, and a corruption audit from the governor's office, line by line, get rid of this patronage and corruption we have in the system.
Well, final thoughts as we almost out of time here, Jesse Sullivan. Any sort of final pleas that you want to make to Illinois voters today going to the polls?
Yeah, please don't waste your vote. We need to beat J.B. Pritzker, who is a true conservative that can win and can lead. And so we all know how important it is to win, not only downstate, not only Central Illinois, but to win up around Chicago. And I am the best candidate to be able to do that. And so really think about your vote. You can join J.B. Pritzker and support Darren Bailey if you want. That's your right. But we will have 4 more years of J.B. Pritzker, and that is unacceptable to Illinoisans. Please consider voting for me, Jesse Sullivan, Kathleen Murphy on the ticket today, and convince your friends to get out and vote.
That's the key, is to vote. No matter who it is for you, vote today in the Illinois primary. If you live in Illinois, of course. If you're in Missouri, I don't think it applies to you as much. Jesse Sullivan, thank you for joining us right off the top of the show here on the Andy Fry Show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry to be losing my voice, but we're surgeons.
You've probably been doing some speeches, I imagine, right?
Oh, yeah. Big rallies. Rallies. We're feeling the momentum.
All right. Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it. Best of luck today.
Hey, thanks so much.
Brad is still in the room here. Hannah just walked in. So I still, honestly, I'm not kidding when I say that I still don't know who I'm going to vote for. And I got to decide by about 5 o'clock because I got to go to the poll after the show today.
You're running out of time, Ryan.
Have you voted yet?
I have.
This morning?
No, I voted on Sunday.
Oh, you did it early?
Yes.
Line's bad?
No, like you said that it's busier, but there was, and they're like, ooh, this is kind of busy. And there was me and 2 other people. So,
well, I'm actually thinking about the general a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know if
probably more busy for early voting at the general.
In Illinois, it is anyway, because I hear the opposite in Missouri, that if you vote early in Missouri, it's actually the lines are better for the general anyway. Mm-hmm. But that I've always found in Illinois that when I vote day of, the lines are better because there are so fewer precincts for early voting.
I have never had to wait an exorbitantly long amount of time to vote.
I haven't either.
Like I would say maybe the longest I've ever waited was 10 minutes.
I wonder if those stories that we hear every year about really long waits, if that's not a rarity, if because the news always focuses on the ones that
on the worst
things. So I wonder if, and I'm sure people are going to say, well, I've waited in line for quite a while. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but go ahead.
Is this on?
Yep.
Okay.
You can have your headphones on.
I waited 2.5 hours for the presidential election.
2020?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes. It was worth it.
That the first time you had voted?
Yes.
So you don't have anything to compare it to?
Nope.
I was going to ask you, what about previous years? But you were like barely 18.
Yeah, presidential election was the first one I voted in, and I waited 2.5 hours.
And that was day of, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I think that's what it is. In Missouri, I hear that a lot more than in Illinois. It may be reversed, where Illinois day of is actually better. I don't know why that is. I think maybe we just have more. We got tons of counties. And
Right.
so we have tons of polling precincts.
Yeah, counties and townships. And
we have a lot more.
We actually had Illinois policy on to talk about that stuff. We've got like overlapping districts.
Exactly. And it's costing us money,
Yeah.
like everything else.
I think it was like over 600 of them in the whole state.
Yeah, which I guess if you're voting day of, it kind of helps.
It's great.
But it costs money, just like everything else in Illinois. All right, let's take a short break. We'll be right back. We got a huge show. I mean, this is one of the most intense shows that I've ever led here. We've got so many guests coming up today, and Wiggins America is still happening, but it's going to be hosted by Hannah.
Hannah's America.
Hannah's America. So stick around for that. It's all coming up here on the Annie Fry Show.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. Monday night, we've got the music. Tune in to 97.1 on July 4th from 8 to 10 for the American soundtrack. Music for fireworks. Unabashedly grateful to be an American.
Attention men. Lately, you've been hearing a lot about wave therapy as a new and revolutionary cure for erectile dysfunction. But did you know the St. Louis Men's Clinic has provided wave therapy since 2017? Wave therapy is a non-invasive, pain-free treatment for ED, but it's not new, nor does it cure ED. In fact, if you've had prostate cancer, wave therapy is not a solution. So before spending too much for a treatment that may not work, call the experienced and knowledgeable staff at the St. Louis Men's Clinic. Their doctors will discuss the available treatment options and develop a customized plan just for you. Get the facts on wave therapy and the treatments for erectile dysfunction. Call the St. Louis Men's Clinic today and schedule a $25 wave therapy session and private consultation. Yeah, that's $25. Call the St. Louis Men's Clinic at 314-828-2600 or visit stlmensclinic.com. Locally owned and operated and a proud partner of the St. Louis Cardinals.
This is Mike Carter. It's ridiculous the United States had to use the military to airlift in baby formula from overseas, or that our car plants like GM and Wentzville and Toyota and Lincoln County have to slow production for microchips to come from China. I'm Mike Carter, Republican candidate for state Senate, and I'm ready to help bring manufacturing jobs home. We need to encourage critical products to be manufactured here in the United States and bring those jobs to Missouri. Bringing manufacturing back home reduces transportation costs, supply chain problems, and reduces the risk of China being able to use that dependence as a weapon. We also need to do a better job of promoting all our state has to offer. Let's help our businesses and industries to expand, make it easy for new business startups, and help our tremendous agricultural industry with better farm-to-market, roads, bridges, and inland port facilities. As your state senator, I'll launch a Make It in Missouri initiative because America can't continue to rely on China. Go to MikeCarter.com or MakeItInMissouri.com. Paid for by Team Mike Carter Treasurer.
2022 is zipping by quickly, and if you haven't taken care of that big exterior painting job for your home or business, CertaPro Painters can help. I've depended on CertaPro for all my painting needs for more than a decade now. They talk about something called the power of pro. That's the power of timeliness, the power of doing it right, the power of minimal disruption. They work to make sure it's a smooth project from start to finish. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters, the power of pro. Check out CertaPro.com today.
I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group. I'm proud to say we are a family business. Through innovative financial tools, my nephew Bob and I are committed to making sure your retirement nest egg is kept safe from market declines. As a matter of fact, we have never lost a dime of our clients' money, and we won't lose any of yours either.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, and the secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. As we look ahead at the likelihood of increasing volatility in the market, it's important that you protect your nest egg from market losses, as that's the engine that drives your retirement income.
Our family would like to help your family retire comfortably and keep your retirement safe and secure. Call us now for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of my second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 36 years. Call us now, 314-993-9494, or online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Did you know there's a Space Channel?
One of the most exciting projects in the solar system.
Space Channel's got movies, original series, news, music, and so much more.
We have come to visit you in peace. Now we're getting to what they call the moment of truth.
Download the Space Channel app on your connected TVs and mobile devices. Just go to the App Store and search Space Channel. Do it now. It's free.
Space Channel. Front row seat to the final frontier.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
SherryKelly.com.
Will you hold the line?
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Giving up and giving in, tell me, in this house of mine.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Consequence of cost, tell me, will the stars align?
And what a crazy couple of weeks this has been. This is Ryan Wiggins filling in for Annie Fry. And I will be tomorrow, too, and Friday, because this is a big week. This is like political junkie week. When primaries are just kind of nerd out weeks for those of us who follow these things closely. Talked to all the candidates, of course, on this show. I think every single one of the candidates who's in the top 5, at least, maybe every single one who's declared has probably been on this show at some point in some fashion. And we just talked to Jesse Sullivan. If you missed that, you want to rewind, you can do that on the Odyssey app. And I just got credit from the company for saying rewind on the Odyssey app. So look at that. I'm checking all the boxes, Brad.
Look at you go.
This has been a crazy week. I'm looking up at Fox News right now, and they're still doing January 6th commission stuff, and the whole country doesn't care.
No.
Nobody cares about this. I would say maybe the first night when I was on vacation, there was like a primetime event that probably cracked through the stratosphere of the average person, knew it existed. And beyond that, it has been like, well, we scheduled this. We're going to keep going.
Well, this one was even bumped up, and it was an emergency one. They kept moving.
That's right, because this lady testifying right now, she suddenly had new evidence or something.
Well, it was that, and they said they were worried about threats to her.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there's always threats to everybody now. The crazy thing is that they had planned this to be an event that just sucked the oxygen out of everything. And so if you paid attention to the news at all, it was all going to be this. And they forgot that the Supreme Court was ending their session this week and last week. And the monumental cases that were coming out, it was like it upended everything.
Yeah, it really did.
It has been the only thing in the news. And it's weird because it's political news, but it hasn't come from the politicians. It's come from the Supreme Court. And it's just because of when their session ends. This has been, I think, the most monumental session that I've ever seen.
Me too. But I will say this is the first time that we've had a session end where there has been you could say 6-3, 5-4 conservative majority or constitutionalist majority on the Supreme Court. And all of these cases, these big cases, hit with that majority at this time.
It looks strange to me that I think there's been a shift, and this is all like behind the scenes stuff. And I'm not a clerk for the Supreme Court. I don't know if you didn't know that about me, Brad. I'm not a clerk for the Supreme Court.
Okay. Well, I thought it was one of your many hats.
I forgot to tell you that I wasn't. Okay. Because I know you probably assumed that I was. But I don't have any like super insider knowledge on this, but just as an observer, it's funny we're talking about this because this wasn't even intended to be the topic of the segment, but I'm looking up at the TV like, man, I can't believe they're still doing this J6 stuff. But going into this session, there seems to be been a shift among specifically Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. Because when you look at their decisions, and there haven't been a ton of them with those two on the court, but if you look at their decisions about COVID stuff, it was kind of straddling the line. Because you talk about the eviction moratorium, you talk about vaccine mandates and OSHA regulations and stuff. For the most part, it went the way that you would hope, but not entirely.
Right.
And from reports I've read, Alito and Clarence Thomas pulled them aside and said, listen, you need to stop being pushed around by the narratives and blah, 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 and said, you need to start acting like a Supreme Court justice. That's what I've heard. It's completely anecdotal.
That would be so cool if true.
Again, don't know if that is really what happened or if, a version of that might have happened where they said, look, hey, you guys are the junior justices. And so they're going to push, everybody's going to push you a little bit more. Don't let them push you. Something like that. I would believe that could happen. Well, since that, and that happened, probably 5-6 months ago, I read that. Since then, all the decisions have been rock solid. And I'm talking about not conservative rock solid, constitutional rock solid. And I think what's happened, and we're diving into psychology of this a little bit here, but I think what's happened is you have John Roberts, who fancies himself as the swing vote. Well, he's not anymore.
Right.
There's 5 who are typically more constitutional, and then 3 who aren't, and then him. I think what is happening is that he's joining the 5 to make it look a little bit more like there's a consensus, so that there's not a bunch of 5-4s, because I think he's that wishy-washy.
My understanding of Justice Roberts is that he is very concerned with upholding the integrity of the court.
Yes, the public perception of the court.
So that the public can look at this group and say, we can trust this group. They're ruling, this isn't ideological. This is, based on the law.
Yeah.
Which I guess I never thought of that before, but him ruling with, the other ones.
The 5. Yeah, because he's even writing concurrent opinions at times that are saying, well, I don't necessarily fully agree with the majority. Like on Roe, he was writing his own opinion almost, but still agreeing with the majority. So I think that's kind of what's at play here, which is really unfortunate because that's not the role of the court.
Right.
The role of the court is just to decide things, as Alito said in his concurrence with the gun law. The dissent here among the 3 is so far off because they're citing current events. Current events really have very little to do with what we're deciding. We decide things based on the Constitution,
right,
and then law that's established, and that's it.
They look at it. They're like referees. They've got the rules. They've got the set of rules, and they look at it, and their job is to enforce the rules. This is inbounds. This is out of bounds. What the liberal justices are doing is they're looking at the court and they're treating it somewhat as a legislative body.
Exactly.
So they're saying, yeah, the law says this, but current situations are this. So it's probably better if we do this. No, that's not your job. Even if it's bad for the country, your job is to rule on the Constitution and stick to the law.
So of the big cases, Brad, I know that you've looked at this a lot too. Roe versus Wade is obviously the biggest one. And I don't know that any of us, Hannah, you come back in here too if you want to, if you're listening, if you're outside. Roe versus Wade is the biggest one. But then you have a couple other cases that I would consider to be in any other session, like big news stuff.
The bombshell.
That have been overshadowed. The gun law is the big one out of New York. The Maine law with school choice. And then yesterday we got the religious liberty decision that came down about the pastor from, I think, Washington, who was able the coach.
The coach, yeah.
Who was able to pray before games.
After games.
And they fired him. And the Supreme Court said, no, you can't discriminate against him just because he's praying. So among those, are we all in agreement that Roe versus Wade is the biggest? I mean,
absolutely.
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how
that's earth-shaking.
Right. But among the other ones, so let's just say the gun law, the Maine, the school choice law, and the religious freedom law, well, not law, but decision that was handed down yesterday. Of those, which ones do you think are the biggest? Brad, you go first.
So here's where I struggle with this, because to me, it's going to be between the gun law and the praying coach one. And the reason that is because those both deal with constitutional amendments. Was the coach's First Amendment's rights violated by that school's decision? The Supreme Court said, yes, it was. Did the state violate those two gentlemen's Second Amendment rights with their law? The Supreme Court said, yes, it was. So I don't know which one's going to have a farther reaching impact, but they both are, to me, they're like 1A right below Roe, because they set in stone, or they set precedent. I don't want to say set in stone because precedent can be changed, but they set the precedent that these constitutional amendments are important and they shouldn't be ignored regardless of the circumstance.
Hannah?
I'm gonna have to say the gun one. They both deal with going along with the amendments, like Brad said, but I would say the gun one. It's hard to rank.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question.
Like
is because they've been
now
such
that I
big
say
decisions.
it out loud and I
Yeah.
actually think about it, it's really, really hard to rank.
I think it's the Maine school choice law. And let me explain why. Is because I think for generations, I thought this was going to take years to play out.
Mm-hmm.
In Arizona, as we speak, they have passed a statewide referendum that school vouchers now are the law, that the whole state is under a voucher system for school choice for Arizona. So and that played out right as this was happening.
This is such like a crazy big time. So much is coming out.
It is. And that's why this session, I think, will be looked at as maybe one of the biggest in history.
This session will be in the history books for sure.
Exactly. And Roe will be the reason it is.
Right.
But there's so many other things because we're talking about not just the gun law, because that's a big one. That's a big states can no longer say, as far as I understand it, this is the layman's reading of it, that the state can't say, prove to me why you should have a gun. The state has to say,
well,
here's why you can't.
Right.
Or vice versa.
Well, the state cannot restrict your right to carry outside of the home.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to prove that you have a need to do it.
Yeah. And instead of you begging the state has to beg you.
Right.
Essentially. And that's 2A. So, but I think as far as long-lasting ramifications of these decisions, that Maine school choice voucher one is such a big deal because it hadn't ever been completely decided on whether the state or a government entity can give you money and then what you can do with that money.
Right.
Because those who were against sort of the religious liberty argument said, well, it would be the state endorsing you spending money on your Christian faith or your Muslim faith or your Jewish faith, whatever, if you go to a religious school. The Supreme Court said, no, that's the person deciding. You can give them that money, but then that's up to them.
Right. And in that case, there was no exclusion for any particular religious school.
Not at all.
They weren't saying that we're only going to allow it to go to these. They were just excluding
all religious
schools, specifically excluding them because of their religion, which was a violation of the Constitution.
Yeah. And so as Corey DeAngelis has been on this show many times, says it allows the state, and I'm using the state as kind of a broad term, I'm talking about the government basically, to enact laws that give the money through the student or through the parents instead of through the school. So you fund the student instead of the institution. The student and the family can decide where the student goes. I think if we're going to see laws passed, like the one that just passed in Arizona, and other parts of other states have these, but they're not necessarily statewide yet. I mean, Maine, because that one was in the case. Vermont, I think West Virginia's got a pretty expansive one. You're going to start to see parents be in complete control of the education of their own kids. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would solve so many of the cultural issues that we're talking about right now, because you can send your kids wherever you want. You want to send them to one that's super liberal, that's like a free arts school, go for it. You'd be able to do that. You can educate your kids, and the education system will adapt to what parents want. You're going to see that take place in Arizona now. You're going to see it take place in West Virginia. And you're going to see it take place, I guess, in rural Maine, although I don't think they have a statewide program yet. But that is a huge movement that's happening across the country right now.
I was going to ask, do you think it's going to trickle across the country?
I do. Here's the problem. A lot of states have been waiting. Missouri, for instance, have been waiting because they weren't sure of the legal quagmire that they might get into if they passed it. Well, a lot of that's being taken care of now. They can look and say, well, the Supreme Court already decided it. If we pass voucher, and there's a lot of, so nobody wants to be the first to fail, because inevitably what's going to happen is Arizona will pass this law. They already did. And then there will be people who will fall through the cracks of this new law. There will be bad stories that come out of it. And guess what's going to be highlighted by the media?
Just the bad stories.
Those stories. And so everybody's afraid to be that first one, because there's going to be a story about some kid who, he was doing fine, but now the school voucher program has ruined. regardless of the statistics. So even if the overall statistics prove that this is way better for the vast majority of people, those will happen. And it doesn't mean they shouldn't be fixed. They have to be fixed. It's just that in any sort of pilot program like this, the first one, you're going to have problems.
Right.
You're going to have cracks in the system, and people are going to fall through it.
Just like anything else.
Exactly. So I think this, the fact that they're willing to go ahead and be the first is huge. And now you're going to see states start to look to them and say, okay, what are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? And over the next few years, you're going to see more and more of this in states like Missouri and a lot of the South and red states across the country. I think the less populous the state, like a Wyoming, you probably see it come up there quicker than more populous states because there's less bureaucracy to work through. But to me, that's the biggest one. But hey, this has been a great couple weeks. I mean, if you're conservative, you're constitutional, if you've been following the news the last couple weeks, this has been a very, very good couple weeks. And it's not because of politics. It's mainly because of the Supreme Court. So coming up, Hannah's going to stick around. Now, this is going to be really weird because normally I'm standing where you're standing doing Wiggins America, and Annie's hitting the sounder. So I have to hit the sounder for my own segment. Brad's going to hit the sounder.
Brad's going to hit
Toss to Hannah for Wiggins America. She's going to correct us and say it's Hannah's America. And then I don't know what happens. Nobody's told me what you're even talking about.
I'm excited.
All right. You're in the spotlight. Coming
Hannah's
up next.
America.
Here on the Annie Fry Show.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Will somebody
Let me see the Mark Cox Morning Show.
A statute in Florida makes it illegal for anyone in a car to turn up their radio too loud. And there's extra punishment for over pumping up the jam near a church, hospital, or school.
Thank God they don't do that around here. I mean, Sue Thomas would be in major trouble.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage is waiting for you to reach out to him because he wants to compete and beat your locked-in rate. You need to make sure that you're locking in the lowest terms rate available. How do you do that? How do you know how to do that? Well, it's pretty simple. You connect with Stewie. When I had a mortgage refinance on my brain and I wanted to know the ins and the outs of it, I wanted to understand the bagel loan and why it is special to Stewart's American Mortgage. I reached out to Stewie, and when I was talking to him about it, he explained it in great detail, how those fees, they just don't exist. It's not as though he's hiding them, tucking them in, rolling them into a loan. The fees don't exist. So if you're looking to do a cash out refinance to take some of that equity in your home out and to pay down some high interest credit card debt or to pay off another high interest loan, I want you to reach out to Stewie. If you're looking to purchase a home, the bagel loan will work for a home purchase as well. Pay no fees that any other lender out there is going to charge you to go through this process. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Snarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AAMCO.
When did elections become a game? Like hide and seek for grown-ups. Tricky grown-ups. Look at Rodney Davis. Do you ever hear Davis talk about his votes to send your tax dollars to Planned Parenthood? True. Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood. 4 times. 4 times Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood, the biggest abortion provider in the country. You won't find that on his campaign website. See? Hide and seek. There's more. Davis once bragged, quote, "I can't wait to work with Nancy Pelosi." And then Davis voted with Pelosi 1,077 times. Rodney Davis. You know his game. Davis talks like a Republican here and votes like a Democrat in Washington. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, copac.us, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Conservative Outsider PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get in your comfort zone with a new HVAC system and see if you qualify for 0% financing and $100 to $900 in utility rebates. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
We're just hanging out in the break talking about how I haven't gotten us kicked off the live stream yet. Isn't that great? I think that at the end of this show, the only thing that matters, well, at least to Annie, will be, did you get us kicked off the live stream?
No strikes.
No strikes. So we're doing okay on that front so far. My name is Ryan Wiggins, if you didn't know. If you're tuning into the Annie Fry Show for the first time ever, you're like, that sounds like a dude. You're right. That is a dude.
Are you sure it's Annie and not Andy?
Yeah. This is the Andy Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk. So we're switching things up today. I'm usually over on the other side of the table, and I'm usually the co-host. Today, the co-host would be Hannah, and she will be hosting, or I guess hosting, right? Yeah, hosting Wiggins America. Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins!
So
It better be good. My name's on it.
Today in Hannah's America, I will be presenting to you 8 of America's most unusual polling places.
Okay.
I thought in honor of the Illinois primary today in polling, I would do something related to that.
It's relevant. Are any of them in Illinois?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a correlation with where these polling places are. Like a ton of them are in the same states, which is telling.
Okay.
All right. First one, Lawn Lanes Bowling Alley in Chicago, Illinois.
So the polling place is in the bowling alley.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Lawn Lanes is located in West Lawn, an area outside of Chicago known for its diversity. The bowling alley has served as a polling place for at least 12 years and is the designated polling place for about 750 voters.
You know, it's funny. I just got back from vacation. We went to South Dakota, and there's a little town south of Rapid City, which is kind of the main area of tourism in South Dakota called Hot Springs. It's about an hour south, so it gets, a decent amount of traffic. We decided to stay one night there and visit the hot springs and go swimming and stuff. Well, it's supposed to be a tourist town. We asked lots of people while we were there, where's a good place to go eat? Because we're probably swimming kind of late. Where can we go to eat? Nothing was open. Every single person told us, well, you could go to the back of the bowling alley. Multiple people were like, this is a tourist town. The only restaurant open is the back of the bowling alley?
Like the alley of the bowling alley, and you knock on the back door and be like, let me get a burger?
I don't know. That's what I was picturing. You got to do a secret knock and you get into the back where
Probably
the guy's setting up the
place
pins.
To bring your children.
we didn't go. I can tell you we didn't go.
Good.
And we didn't vote in one either.
Maybe they had a polling place in the back as well. All right. Second place, which is my personal favorite, Ray Lousenberry's shed in Nevada Township, Iowa.
That's awesome. It must be a big shed, too.
Ray Lousenberry has opened up his agricultural garage to voters for almost 2 decades. A county auditor asked to use his garage because the previous polling place was too cold, which deterred voters from coming to cast their ballots. The World War II veteran, just a few years shy of his 100th birthday, has regularly opened and helped poll workers set up the area in preparation for the hundreds of voters assigned to his precinct, Nevada Township, by setting up chairs and bringing refreshments for the workers. He says, I feel like I'm doing a service to the county by letting them use this.
Yes, you are, sir.
No kidding.
You
must
say
have
he
a
was
nice
a World
shed.
War II veteran too?
Yes.
100 years old.
That guy's American.
No
Yes,
kidding.
he is.
I want to vote in that guy's shed.
Yeah. Nevada Township, Iowa. Next, we have a Su Nueva laundromat in Chicago, Illinois. Su Nueva is actually a 10-minute walk from Lawn Lane's bowling alley.
Where did you say it was? A laundromat?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
located in West Lawn and is the official polling place for about 700 registered voters.
What do they have? No public buildings in this part of Chicago? They got to use the laundromats and the
And the
bowling
bowling
alleys?
alley, 10-minute walk from one to the
Okay.
other.
10-minute walk means it's like a 1-minute drive.
Going along with the Illinois trend, I guess they don't have any buildings.
And down the street from this one is
Pressure Billards Cafe. Wait, Pressure Billards and Cafe in Chicago, Illinois.
Billiards? Like
Yes.
pool?
it's a pool
Yes.
hall.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Okay.
While many restaurants and other small businesses that volunteer as polling places will shut down for election day, Pressure Billiards and Cafe in Edgewater keeps business going alongside voting. Commercial establishments like this one that serves as a polling place are often compensated with a small fee. In 2015, Chicago vendors were offered $150.
You know, seriously though, why wouldn't you want to be a polling place if you're a business?
Absolutely.
I mean, it might get in the way. If you're a restaurant or something, it might get in the way. But if you're a bowling alley or a pool hall, you're just inviting a bunch of people to come into your business that have never been there.
Love to know how that works. Like
How far away is that one from the other two?
probably down the
About a
street
minute
as well.
down the road. You're all in Chicago.
Makes it easier to go from one to the other. To the
Oh,
other.
that's right. Yeah, same person voting in all three.
All right, the next three I'll just name down. Visions Hair Salon in Downey, California.
Sweet. Nancy Pelosi.
Next one, this one's kind of cool. Harley Davidson dealership in Long Beach, California.
That's cool.
And there was a-
That's another one I could see. Why wouldn't you want to make it a polling place? You're just getting people in your store.
Make them walk past the inventory to vote.
Exactly.
There was a comment along with the Harley Davidson one that said, like, this feels so America.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a bike.
Although
and
not
vote.
quite as much as Ray's Shed.
Yeah, Ray Shed. You cannot give more America.
That's the
than
best
that.
one
I know.
so far.
All right. And then the next one is a one-room schoolhouse in Sherman Township, Iowa.
That's pretty cool.
Is it still operational?
No, I saw a picture of
Okay.
it. It's
Just a
white
cute old school.
brick and it's one room. So Iowa has Ray's Shed and the schoolhouse.
Oh, you said that was in Iowa, not Nevada Township.
Nevada Township, Iowa.
Yes. A little
Yes.
tricky.
All right. And our last one here is Mummers Museum in Philadelphia.
What kind of museum is it? What is a mummer?
I don't know. I was too busy looking at pictures of Ray's Shed, and really Ray's Shed had like a John Deere tractor in the back. And
So it's more than a shed. They're using the word shed pretty loosely there. You can fit
Shed.
vehicles in it.
Oh, that's exactly what a shed is, though. It's like a pole barn.
You know
that
what
can
kind
Yeah,
of
park-
barn.
looked like?
Well, you just said barn. That's what I would call it.
Yeah, but that's a shed if you park equipment in. A barn's for animals.
Oh, okay.
That
Okay.
yeah.
Wouldn't you call it a garage if it had vehicles in it?
No, because the garage is for cars.
You know, the mummers thing? Weird story. Because I don't know what kind of museum that is, but obviously I think of mummies.
Yeah.
I may have told this story a while back, but I was going through, I like, flea markets, we talk about this stuff, but I like antiques and stuff like that too. So I was in a antique shop in Alton, Illinois, probably 10 years ago. And Alton has some buildings that are very historic, been there for hundreds of years, or at least 100 years. And this one was a shed full of stuff. And it was obvious that there were different floors that most people were probably not willing to venture to, including the people who owned it, because there were cobwebs and stuff. It was open to the public, but obviously nobody really went in them much because it was pretty dusty. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to find the good stuff, I'm going to go up those staircases. So I did. And I was using, it was daylight, but these places are so dark that I was using the flashlight on my phone to kind of see where I was going, even though it was daylight outside, because it was this dark and dusty. So I go up there and I'm just kind of kicking around trying to find, like, is there anything up here that nobody's looked at in a decade, And so I finally get to the back of one floor that clearly nobody's been on in at least a year, I'm going to say, because it was that dingy. There were that many cobwebs that I'm walking through. And I found this little thing that looked like a casket. And I'm like, whoa, that looks like a tiny casket, but it's not for a full-size person. And I don't even know if it looked real. It almost looked like it was decorated like a circus almost. So it was already kind of cracked and I could see through it. And I open up this door of this little thing because it was meant for that. It wasn't like that it was sealed shut. It was meant to be opened. It looked like a little thing. But I open it and it smelled really bad. And so I closed it.
What is this story?
So I closed the thing. Well, because of the closing of it, you could see through the glass now because it had dust when it had fallen off. I could see through it. There was, I kid you not, a mummy in that thing.
Oh.
And I don't know. I still to this day don't know if it was a real mummy, like a kid who had died, or if it was a circus prop. I really don't know. But it was one of the strangest things. And I bet you didn't think that story was going to come out of Weird Polling Places.
No.
What I do know about Mummers Museum, though, it is a 44-year-old homage to the oldest continuous folk parade in the United States.
Ah, that's almost exactly like what I did.
That's what I know.
Real similar. Thanks, Hannah.
No problem.
For doing Wiggins America. We'll keep doing Wiggins America kind of for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
We've got Jim Carafano coming up right after the top of the hour here. Stick around.
Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group, your destination for retirement planning security. You want to make sure that when it comes to your retirement, that it's going to be there working for you the way you've worked for it, of course. And when you reach out to Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group, Bob Kershaw, the whole staff there at this family-owned and operated business, you're quickly going to understand why they've had no clients ever lose a penny. You can get a free retirement review. It's a no-cost, zero obligation retirement review when you call them at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Let their team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. It's not too good to be true. They're helping Annie Fry Show listener after Annie Fry Show listener achieve this dream. Don't be scared about the current economy. Take control of the wheel and call my friend Thomas Helbig. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Get a copy of his second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement, retirementkey.com.
Diabetic neuropathy, cold feet, resting leg pain, foot wounds that don't heal. These are classic signs of peripheral artery disease, or PAD. Left untreated, PAD can lead to gangrene and even lower limb amputation. Modern Vascular is a healthcare leader in the outpatient treatment of PAD. Last year, over 10,000 patients across the country chose Modern Vascular for the diagnosis and treatment of their PAD. Modern Vascular clinics consistently receive high Google review ratings and have received over 500 five-star patient reviews in the last 12 months. In fact, Modern Vascular has been recognized as the best PAD treatment specialist in the country. If you or someone you love is experiencing the symptoms of PAD, don't ignore it. Visit modernvascular.com today or call 844-4PAD-HELP to schedule a consultation in our local clinic. That's 844-4PAD-HELP.
This is Mike Carter. Everyday hardworking Missourians suffer from out-of-control inflation lately. We feel it at the gas pump, often spending an extra $50 or $100 to drive to work. If you've tried to buy a used car or a pickup truck recently, you discovered they are in short supply and you'll end up paying a lot more. Young couples looking to buy a starter home find themselves having to bid above the asking price to have a chance to get their first home. Just feeding your family is harder with grocery bills up almost a third. I'm Mike Carter, Republican candidate for state Senate in the 10th District. As a husband and a father, I know what it takes to provide for your family, working long hours only to see the extra money you made from a raise disappear from inflation. The last thing Missouri families need are higher taxes. You've had to tighten your belt, and state government needs to do the same. As your state senator, I'll make sure you get to keep more of your hard-earned dollars. Go to MikeCarter.com for more information, paid for by Team Mike Carter, Mike Carter Treasurer.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
A flashback
to January 6th. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A former aide to then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows telling the Capitol Riot Committee about statements by the president's then lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, in the days leading up to the rally that became a riot.
I remember leaning against the doorway and saying, I had an interesting conversation with Rudy. Mark, sounds like we're going to go to the Capitol. He didn't look up from his phone and said something to the effect of, there's a lot going on, Cass, but I don't know. Things might get real bad on January 6th.
Cassidy Hutchinson also telling the committee that President Trump was told by a security official on the day of the rally that some in the crowd had guns and other weapons. An Amtrak train derailment is now blamed for at least 4 deaths. The State Highway Patrol in Missouri also confirming the number of injuries has jumped to about 150. The train was headed from LA to Chicago when it struck a dump truck yesterday. The driver of the truck among the dead. The NTSB investigating. The president's top health official is outlining potential steps to ensure access to abortion now that Roe versus Wade has been overturned.
Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra called last week's Supreme Court ruling despicable, but says the department has been preparing for it.
What I can simply say to you is every option is on the table.
Becerra says there are discussions about potential travel vouchers for women in states with abortion bans, and his department will continue efforts to increase the availability and access of abortion medication.
We'll also work with the Attorney General and the Department of Justice as they work to ensure that states may not ban medication abortion based on a disagreement with the FDA's expert judgment.
HHS announced the launch of reproductiverights.gov.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. America is listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with a push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Giving it your all on the court? Make sure you have the right partner by your side. Highland's Leg Cramps Quick Dissolve Tablets, America's #1 leg cramp relief solution for over 10 years. No water needed, no stomach upset, just fast, effective relief. Also available in caplets. Highland's Leg Cramps, to healthy competition and beyond. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Lots of sunshine, pleasant temperatures, pleasant humidity levels, 85 for the high. That is a touch below average. Tonight, clear skies, beautiful evening, 62 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny, great morning. Now it's a little warmer, a little more humid Wednesday afternoon, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. 95 with tons of humidity back Thursday and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We're ready for a celebration across the nation. And on Monday night, we've got the music.
I'm a flag-waving, patriotic nephew of my Uncle
Tune in to 97.1 on July 4th from 8 to 10 for the American Soundtrack. Music to enhance your July 4th fireworks experience, hosted by Ryan Wiggins. Unabashedly grateful to be an American. The American Soundtrack. Music for fireworks. Monday night from 8 to 10. Turn it on and let freedom ring.
Attention men. Lately, you've been hearing a lot about wave therapy as a new and revolutionary cure for erectile dysfunction. But did you know the St. Louis Men's Clinic has provided wave therapy since 2017? Wave therapy is a non-invasive, pain-free treatment for ED, but it's not new, nor does it cure ED. In fact, if you've had prostate cancer, wave therapy is not a solution. So before spending too much for a treatment that may not work, call the experienced and knowledgeable staff at the St. Louis Men's Clinic. Their doctors will discuss the available treatment options and develop a customized plan just for you. Get the facts on wave therapy and the treatments for erectile dysfunction. Call the St. Louis Men's Clinic today and schedule a $25 wave therapy session and private consultation. Yeah, that's $25. Call the St. Louis Men's Clinic at 314-282-8700 or visit stlmensclinic.com. locally owned and operated and a proud partner of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Did you know there's a Space Channel?
One of the most exciting projects in the solar system.
Space Channel's got movies, original series, news, music, and so much more.
We have come to visit you in peace. Now we're getting to what they call the moment of truth.
Download the Space Channel app on your connected TVs and mobile devices. Just go to the App Store and search Space Channel. Do it now. It's free.
Space Channel. Front row seat to the final frontier.
When did elections become a game? Like hide and seek for grown-ups. Tricky grown-ups. Look at Rodney Davis. Do you ever hear Davis talk about his votes to send your tax dollars to Planned Parenthood? True. Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood. 4 times. 4 times Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood, the biggest abortion provider in the country. You won't find that on his campaign website. See? Hide and seek. There's more. Davis once bragged, quote, "I can't wait to work with Nancy Pelosi." And then Davis voted with Pelosi 1,077 times. Rodney Davis. You know his game. Davis talks like a Republican here and votes like a Democrat in Washington. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, copac.us, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Conservative Outsider PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Join Mosby Building Arts every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 FM. Rich Orse and guests give insider tips about renovations, design, construction, exteriors, and more. Tune in to Right at Home with Rich on Saturdays or catch the podcast online.
Mark Cox.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian Kilmeade.
How about this?
Annie Fry.
Wow, we really got to change course.
Mark Reardon.
Coming together.
Dana Lash.
I mean, it's 2022.
Listen on the Odyssey app and rewind whenever you'd like.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
And last question. You're a former First Lady, former Secretary of State, former Senator. Do you miss the day-to-day of politics? Is there any scenario in your brain that you would think, I want to get back in?
No, but I miss it. I miss it.
There's no scenario in 2024 that you would even remotely consider.
I can't imagine it. I really can't. But what
I don't know.
It's not a no. Well, is she going to run again? Is she not? It doesn't sound like she is. She doesn't miss the day-to-day of politics. This is Ryan Wiggins filling in for Annie Fry. Speaking of the day-to-day of politics, they just switched it, but CNN was running a chyron about today's January 6th commission, and apparently the best they could get out of this Hutchison is her name. She's given the testimony today. Is that Trump lunged for the steering wheel of the limo and told the Secret Service agent he wanted to go to the Capitol. That is the crime that is on display today. They couldn't wait any longer. They had to have this today. Jim Carafano is here to talk about that and many other things. Jim Carafano, welcome to the Annie Fry Show.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hello. Hi, Jim. We can hear you now. Yeah.
Hey, there you go. It must have been the Chinese.
Clearly. Yeah, I'm looking at your article, actually. If you want to talk about that first, Russian hacks remind free world it's time for cyber upgrade. How much of a threat is our infrastructure being hacked, whether it's Russia or anybody else?
The answer to that question is call me tomorrow. Because the reality is cyber is an environment that you live in, not a problem to be solved. I mean, you can be thorough. It's not like Fort Knox, right? Fort Knox is you secure it. It's secure, right? Goldfinger will never get in and get the gold. The cyber, you can be perfectly secure today, but tomorrow somebody could invent a new virus, or there could be a new phishing scam and your system could get compromised. So this is an ongoing problem. And what I try to highlight in the article, which is, I think, true for lots of things, is we're going to be better off if people that believe in the free market and free elections and human rights all kind of work together. I mean, there's real value in that. And so I think more, bilateral cyber cooperation is really a good thing, because malicious actors, the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, they all have massive cyber things. And honestly, dude, they're coming after us all the time. I mean, it never ends. Russia has been hacking people on the Ukraine war since day one, and they've actually never stopped.
Is that just part of the landscape now? I mean, are we attacking other people? Everybody else is attacking us, and everybody just knows it. And then they have the G7 anyway. They go and they meet with world leaders, and everybody just goes, "Oh yeah, we don't even know that that's happening."
Right? You nailed it. It happens every day. It is literally nonstop. I mean, this is a bit of this cyber war thing that oh my God, there's a cyber attack. We'll declare World War III. We do cyber attacks every day. That's not what's going to lead to World War III, and it's very unlikely that if people could create the kind of hacks which would create like a cyber Pearl Harbor, I think somebody would have already done that. But what have we learned? When we do stuff with our enemies and don't think bad things are going to happen, that's kind of the lesson here. Whether it is Russian cyber, or hey, let's buy gas and oil from Russia. What's the problem there? Or let's buy solar panels from the Chinese. I mean, I get it. We live in a globalized world. I get that. But doing business with your enemies comes with a lot of risks and a lot of costs. And I think the thing that we should have learned is we all need to be smarter about that. The problem is in the people of, I don't think the president's, getting smarter. I just don't think the president's actually in that group.
Yeah, it's amazing looking back. This was an issue that obviously it didn't just come up all of a sudden. This has been an issue that's been going on for quite a while. Yet until Donald Trump started talking about it, I don't think that it wasn't really on most people's radar.
Right. And, but, I will go back to the thing is this stuff's part of it, but we have to remember that at the end of the day, the real thing is when people start shooting at each other, that's when people really start dying. And sometimes I worry that we get so enamored with economic competition, and we have to deal with climate change, and we have to deal with cyber stuff and everything, that we forget that at the end of the day, what really causes countries to fall and people to die is people killing other people. And war is going to be with us, and war is about killing. And we've seen this horrific war in Ukraine, and we should all. The number one lesson we should take away from that is the Ronald Reagan mantra of peace through strength. Strong people don't get attacked by other people. And it's when people are weak or they think you're weak, like Osama bin Laden in 9/11, when they come after you. And the only president that we've had in modern times who understood that as well as Ronald Reagan was Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
And, it's not even though he never served in the military, not have a lot of foreign policy experience, Trump grew up in the Reagan years. I mean, that's when he really became a leader. And he knew everything about real estate and business and all that. But when he started thinking about being a leader on a bigger stage, and it wasn't about making money or deals, it was about securing the freedom and safety and prosperity of your community and your people. Who was president of the United States? Ronald Reagan. So who is his guiding light in terms of what does a president do? Not that they ever acted, similarly, but in his heart, I think when Trump wanted to make a decision, he would ask him, what would Ronald Reagan do? And I think that served us very well. Russia didn't attack anybody on our watch. The Chinese were scared. The Iranians were in a box. The North Koreans were coming to the table. I mean, every major evil power in the world, treaded lightly in front of Donald Trump. And honestly, what was wrong with that?
Yeah, and he made it look easy. He did things that were very, very unorthodox, but they all worked. And you go, oh, well, why weren't we doing that the whole time? You know, Jim Carafano on the phone with his leading expert in national security and foreign policy at Heritage. What about the peace accords? You know, I wasn't intending to ask you about that, but we haven't talked about that in quite a while. That was something that Donald Trump was doing in the Middle East. He was getting Middle Eastern nations to sign peace treaties that we never thought were possible. What has happened to that under Joe Biden?
Well, Biden's been completely indifferent to it, but it was such a good idea and it was so powerful that it's actually been moving ahead. And we see continued engagement between Israel and the Arab states and more normalization and cooperation on dealing with Iran. So that's even moving ahead. But because I'm actually, as I'm talking to you, I'm on my way to the Madrid summit, so I'm actually in Europe. It's really interesting. One of the things, because of course, they all hate Trump here, right? He's an evil, terrible guy, right? And one guy actually told me yesterday, he said, well, if Trump wins again, then America's leadership in the world will be gone forever. But here's what I discovered, if you got a second.
Yeah.
You should hear the reaction here to the Dobbs decision and the Supreme Court thing. It's like they've destroyed human rights in America. The Supreme Court has wiped out human rights. And every country, every person from every country I've talked to here, I said, you realize, of course, that your country has stricter rules on abortion than the United States. And so it's not about Donald Trump, right? They all hate Donald, but it's not about Donald Trump. What it is they listen to the leftist wacko media and pundits, and they echo chamber back exactly what they hear, and they pass it off as wisdom. So it's not that Donald Trump was this horrible, terrible person that was really threatening the peace of the free world. It's just that that's what Hillary Clinton told them. That's what Obama told them. That's what MSNBC told them. That's what they saw on CNN. And so that's what they said, well, that's what's going on. So,
yeah, that's incredible. I believe you. I just, when I see those comments, you hear Justin Trudeau come out and talk about something and you go, well, where's he getting this? All these world leaders, it's amazing to me how much they weigh in on United States domestic policy.
Right. And when they do, all they're doing is parroting Obama and Biden and AOC and, Elizabeth Warren and MSNBC.
Yeah, our media.
It's nuts. And the reality is look, I spent a lot of time traveling around the world, and when I talk to Europeans, I think by the end of Trump's term, and they would say in private, they say, what, this Trump guy's actually right, but I would never say that in public because we've been, for years we've been saying how terrible and horrible this guy is. I could never admit that he's actually right. I could never tell my voters that.
Of course, because there's this public perception that they can't seem to overcome, and there's a lot of that here too. Jim Carafano, before we run out of time with you, are you paying attention? I should ask you this. Is America paying attention to the January 6th Commission?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Look, and again, I think that's when you get overseas, one of the things you see this. Look, inflation, the border, price of gas. These are the things that are just driving Americans up the wall. And it's not the January 6th Commission. And, but if you come here to Europe, they think it's all about the January 6th Commission, and it's all about guns, and it's all about people losing their human rights because of the Supreme Court. And it is a complete lack of understanding the reality of where Americans are. And to me, the extraordinary thing, and I told Andy this 1,000 times, and the great value of talk radio is, look at the American people. They get told every day that they don't know what they're talking about, and everything's wonderful and perfect, and they should just go back to being lemmings. And they don't believe it. I mean, you look at the polls, you look at what's happening in elections, and it's just very clear Americans know that this country is being led in the wrong direction. And why is that? It's because, one, Americans aren't stupid, but two is that they go and they go to talk radio, and they go in their communities, and they talk to their neighbors, and they talk about things that really, really matter to them. And the only people that are listening to this, remember the old commercial, when Edward, it was the old TV commercial when what's his name talked, the broker, everybody listened, and a guy says something and everybody in the restaurant stop and listening. And that's what they think is happening. That's what Joe Biden thinks is happening. Joe Biden thinks what he says, or when Liz Cheney goes on this hearings, that everybody in the world, it just stops and they're just riveted listening to them. And the reality is no. It's like the little squirrel in a cage that's looking in the mirror and thinks it's got an audience. We know what Americans know what's going on, and they know that what they're saying is nonsense, and they just tune it out.
Yeah, but they really do. They're surprised when they look at their own polling. I really believe that they can't believe that we're telling you everything's fine, though. Why aren't you believing it? And then for 4 years under Trump, we were telling you how awful things were, trying to find any sort of like, well, what about wage growth? We can try to find something there, right? It's amazing. Right. Any sort of message.
Isn't there a guy in Alaska that's not doing it?
Yeah. Yeah, this guy, right? This one guy, man, he's having a tough time. Let's sound out a full film crew to tell his story, and we'll put it on Netflix. Jim Carafano, thank you so much for being a part of the Annie Fry Show every week. Love talking to you.
Oh, it's a great show. Thank you, guys. Thanks for such great radio. You guys are so terrific.
All right. Talk to you again soon. I'm Ryan Wiggins, filling in for Annie Fry this week. Well, at least most of the week anyway. Today, of course, is the Illinois primary. So wanted to make sure we highlighted a lot of that. And we will next. We're talking to Representative Mary Miller in a contentious seat in Illinois. She's facing Rodney Davis in the primary. We'll find out who's going to win that today. But we're going to talk to her right after this on the Annie Fry Show.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Decision 2022 is here. Make your voice heard.
It weaponizes the science into a political weapon.
Decision 2022. Coverage sponsored by Air Comfort Service and TR Hughes Homes. Right here, right now on 97.1 FM Talk.
Is your portfolio positioned for the biggest risks facing investors today? Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. We have experienced tremendous economic changes in the last year. Today, historically low interest rates and spiking inflation present new risks and opportunities for investors. If you haven't made changes to your investments in the last year, it's time for a portfolio review. With 100 years of combined experience, our team can help you prepare for the risks relevant to today's investors. Contact the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel to request a free portfolio review at clearpathinvesting.com or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458, 800-481-1458, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Tax hikers, Chicago politicians, and rhinos are lining up to defeat conservative Jennifer Cordy in the 112th district race in Illinois. Don't believe their desperate lies. Jennifer Cordy is a mother who got involved in politics to take on Pritzker and speak up for parental rights. Jennifer Cordy has strong family ties to Madison County. She is one of us and will fight to cut taxes and put families first. Say no to the corrupt establishment by voting for Jennifer Cordy on June 28th.
Paid for by Citizens for Jennifer Corky.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing way up on that ladder? You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm trying to unclog these gutters.
That's smart. I had water damage from my gutters last year. It cost me $10,000.
Wait, $10,000?
Yeah, and from over here, it looks like water's been pouring over your clogged gutters, and it's probably doing real damage to your foundation. You need to do what I did. Get off the ladder and call Leaf Filter.
Yeah, but I need to get these gutters flowing now.
That's why you need to call Leaf Filter. They'll clean and realign your gutters and install their exclusive micro mesh screen system so nothing gets in your gutters except water.
So Leaf Filter protects my house from damage and means no more gutter cleaning for me?
Bingo! Plus, Leaf Filter has an industry-leading lifetime warranty, so your gutters are covered for life.
Thanks, Frank. I'm calling Leaf Filter today.
Don't go another day with your home unprotected. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com right now for an extra 15% savings. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com. That's 1-844-300-LEAF.
Hi, this is Curtis Barks. I am the owner of Complete Auto Body and Repair, here to tell you about our touchless automotive service. If you're experiencing the constant struggles of having the kids home from school or just want more of that family time where you can listen to them teach you about what they do every day, we provide touchless automotive service, return the vehicle to you clean and ready to go in the comfort of your own home. Check us out online at CompleteAB.com for more information. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
Can you fix the car?
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
American girls and American guys will always stand.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
There's a lot of men dead, so we can sleep in peace at night when we lay down our head. My daddy served in the army, where he lost his right eye, but he flew a flag out in our yard till the day that he died. He wanted my mother.
There's only one true America First Republican in the race for the 15th district, and that's an incredible woman, somebody I've gotten to know very well. She's been with me from day one. No bad back statements, saying bad things about me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago. Her name is Mary Miller.
Well, that is from the rally this weekend, which many of our own team here were at, and I think that's our own audio, actually. How often can we play our own audio,
That
Brad?
is our own audio.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Good job. Representative Mary Miller is who Trump is talking about right there, and she is on the phone with us. Good afternoon, Mary.
Hello, this is an exciting day. Yes, we had such a great time at the rally, gathering with thousands of people who love America, who love President Trump, who can't wait for him to come back and want representatives that will advocate for Americans first.
Mary, what is it like? You've been, I think he endorsed you quite a while ago. That wasn't like all of a sudden at that rally. But because I've heard your ads and things. What is it like when Trump, does he just call you out of the blue and go, hey, I like you, I'm on board with your team? How does that work?
Well, he's actually very funny. I love his authenticity. I've so enjoyed being face to face with him numerous times. I can tell you this, the man loves our country. He's still working tirelessly, obviously not where he belongs in the Oval Office, but he's definitely still advocating for America and Americans first.
Mary Miller, today, of course, is the Illinois primary. So a lot of people have voted early, or a lot of people have voted already today, but a lot of people like myself are going to be voting after the show today and this evening. How are you feeling going into this evening?
Very positive. We were ahead in the polls significantly before the rally, and that just increased the momentum to today. I'm looking forward to obviously I represent the Illinois 15 now. I'm looking forward to representing the new Illinois 15. I think people are they want the establishment and the swamp to go away. They would like people that have lived in the real world, like myself, to represent them.
Mary, I was not at the rally over the weekend, but again, like I said, a lot of our team was. And so I was watching it very closely via the eyes of the people in the room here with me. And also, apparently, the national media grabbed a quote from you. I'm going to play it. And of course, I'm sure you have some thoughts about the way that's been portrayed.
President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
Now, Mary, when I first heard that, I thought, well, it sounds like she just misspoke. But the news stories are not saying that, are they?
Yes, it's so clear. I was saying right to life and I stumbled, but, I'm proud of the campaign I've run, based on the issues, a positive campaign. Unfortunately, my opponents run a smear campaign on me, and the media's in with him. But this is what they've done to President Trump for 5 years. I'm undeterred. I'm not afraid of the people. I'm even out in D.C. I'm a happy warrior for our Judeo-Christian values, and I'm undeterred.
Mary, I would think that just because of that, you're now getting more attention. If you are, of course, the nominee, you're going to get more attention than you've ever imagined. You're probably more famous now than you were a week ago, just because of these things. They grab them and they run with them. And my question for you is, are you prepared for that kind of attention? If they're going to try to paint you as somebody, are you prepared to fight back against that portrayal, which may follow you forever?
Yeah, I'm prepared to fight. I think that's one of the problems is we've elected passive Republicans that they have betrayed their constituents. I'm happy that there's actually groups such as CPAC and Liberty Score that keep track of our voting records. We need bold fighters out there, and I'm happy to be one of those. I belong to the Freedom Caucus, and we are fighting on the front lines for our constitutional freedoms and for America First.
Representative Mary Miller, Representative looking to be the nominee for Illinois' 15th district, looking to that's today. We'll find that out today. And so, of course, you are joining us and sort of making your final appeal, as a lot of people are looking at the Illinois primary. What is the difference between you and Rodney Davis? Why should people pick you over Rodney?
Well, first of all, I'm not a career politician. I have an A voting record versus an F voting record. I will never vote for any legislation that diminishes our Second Amendment rights. I'm a proud and outspoken advocate for parental rights. My husband and I are production farmers. We raise grain and cattle, which is, I'm happy to have the Illinois Beef Association's endorsement. But, on the Ag Committee, I'm bringing a level of expertise and understanding. As a mom and grandma to 19 children, I am a fighter for the next generation. This is the land of freedom and opportunity, and we want to keep it that way. And so I ask for your vote. My faith guides me. I believe I'm going to answer to God for how I handle this opportunity.
Mary, I'm filling in for Annie today. And so when I'm on my show, one of the things I like to do when I have people like yourself on is allow you to just respond to attack ads. So there have been, of course, attack ads against you. What do you say back to those who criticize your credentials?
I think people want to know how I'm going to advocate for them, and I am not going to respond to Rodney Davis's attack ads that started on day one. He would have gotten me off of the America First agenda, which that's what people want. They want secure border. They want our energy and gas going. They didn't appreciate that I was the only Republican in Illinois to vote against sending another $40 billion to Ukraine. They want someone like me, they did appreciate that I was the only Republican in Illinois that didn't vote for the $40 billion to Ukraine.
Yeah, that was that was just recently. I remember that was something that you had stood up against. And my biggest question for that, and I'll just ask you this because I'm curious, why did it need to be $40 billion? I could never get that answer. I could see sending something maybe, but $40 billion is a lot of money.
It's outrageous. It actually equals the annual budget for Illinois, for the entire state of Illinois. And it was actually $53 billion because we'd already voted to send $13 billion over there. And the greatest threat to the world is if America goes down. Our own border is open, and we've got, the fuel prices are painful. It's causing fertilizer prices to go up. It's outrageous. We need America first. That's why people want President Trump back, and they want people that are going to advocate for President Trump. And another thing is these wonderful, magnificent, joyous victories that we've had from the Supreme Court. They would have never been possible if President Trump had been elected in 2016. My opponent voted for Hillary Clinton. We would have had the most liberal Supreme Court ever. We would have never had these great victories.
Boy,
thanks to President Trump and his appointments, and he kept his promises.
Yeah, it's been an amazing week and a half, hasn't it? I mean, the news has almost been every day a new decision's coming down, and they've been going the right way. Let me ask you this, Representative Mary Miller on the phone with this representative looking to represent the 15th district in Illinois. Of course, the primary is today. Looking past the primary and ahead to November, we're all kind of half assuming, at least in this room we are, looking at poll numbers and things, that the GOP is going to take back the House in November. What can a GOP House do that is not being done now? You know, what can the American people expect from a Republican-led House that they're not getting from a Democrat-led House?
Well, the first thing we have to have, and is top priority for us, both as a conference and the Freedom Caucus, priority also is to have hearings. I think it's so exciting that Jim Jordan will probably be, overseeing those. He's a great patriot. I trust him. He's a friend of mine. We need to have hearings. We need to find out what's happened. Obviously, the disastrous withdrawal out of Afghanistan, Fauci, Ukraine. I mean, there's just Hunter Biden. There's so many things. Also, we've been calling for the impeachment of Joe Biden, and his cabinet. Mayorkas has totally flouted our immigration laws. They have advertised and facilitated this invasion. It is outrageous. They took an oath of office that they have betrayed, an oath to uphold our laws, and this is it's absolutely criminal.
Mary Miller on the phone with us. As far as those investigations that you just mentioned, a laundry list that really could go in any direction, and I think you'd be completely justified in doing so. What do you think would be the top priority? Is it immigration? Is it the laptop? I mean, what do you think would be the first investigation that a Republican House would take up?
We've actually had that discussion back and forth, immigration, and also we have got to get control of our schools. We have one chance to raise our children. Parents want to be the advocates for their children. We want local schools to be able to reflect the values of the communities where they are. We don't want our kids to be bitter toward our great country or to be bitter toward each other. We don't want them hypersexualized. We want them to be smart. We want them to be masters of the core subjects so that they can use the God-given gifts and fulfill the purpose God has for them here on earth.
Mary, just to be clear, how would you do that from Congress? I hear the message, but what is Congress's role in doing that?
Well, for one thing, if we have the majority, we're going to replace the education secretary, get rid of Mayorkas. These people are driving the policy, and even if they aren't passing laws, they're passing rules and making statements that other people are taking cues from, such as Chicago and the public schools, and, putting all this transgender stuff in the schools. But we definitely need to fight to defend, our Constitution and fight against all these leftist policies. They're trying to dismantle our country. They're going after the foundations.
And your tool for doing that in Congress would be impeachment, I assume?
Well, and taking over the committee chairs.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And the other thing, if we defund these programs, that's why, my opponent says he's pro-life, but he's funded Planned Parenthood. The key is to defund these terrible programs.
Well, Mary Miller, I appreciate your time. Yeah, I appreciate your time today. Today, of course, is the primary. So if you live in the 15th district in Illinois, you're going to see a choice between Mary Miller and Rodney Davis. And I appreciate you making time for the Annie Fry Show today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, you bet. So we talked to Mary Miller quite a few times, haven't we, Brad? Mary Miller and Rodney Davis, of course, because we're all Illinois. So if you're listening in Missouri, you're like, oh, man, I'm looking forward to tomorrow because the primary will be over.
I got bad news for you guys because now we're going to have to react to that.
We're going to be reacting.
That's not bad news, though. That's good news.
No, this isn't. Yeah, this isn't one of those where we're going to have, we don't know if J.B. Pritzker is not going to be governor anymore tomorrow. So we're going to know who the nominees are.
Right.
And that'll just be kind of fun to cover. Looking forward to doing that. That's one of the reasons that I'm filling in today and tomorrow, is to make sure that we do cover that. I have some audio that I'm going to play for you next that's a little bit outside the box. These are the two best impersonations of the current leadership of our country that I have found anywhere. One of them is famous, and you might know the name. One of them is not. I'm kind of half tempted to play real audio and then fake audio and then let you decide which one's real and which one's fake. I don't know. We'll see. But that's coming up right after the break here. I'm Ryan Wiggins, and I'm filling in for Annie Fry. Be right back.
Love is falling under attack.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Through our big black eye, man, we lit up your world like the 4th of July. Hey, Uncle Sam, what's your name?
About 6% of couples who get divorced wind up remarrying each other.
6% seems higher than I would have expected. I don't know if I believe that. I think that's fake news.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
MySlim180.com. MySlim180.com. I have been so excited to have partnered with MySlim180 to make sure that I could lose the weight that I've been looking to lose. 22 pounds. I want to lose a little bit more. I want to maybe top that 30 mark, but I'm going to do that when I get back from vacation because I'm enjoying myself right now. I've put myself in a position to enjoy the fun that goes along with vacation because of Slim180, because I am going to be present with my kids. I'm going to have the energy to keep up with them, and working with Slim180 is what got me there. Working with Trish and having her listen to me and what my goals were and helping me tailor a program to me that would help me lose weight fast and, yes, know how to keep it off, even in the context of being able to take a vacation in the middle. I trusted Slim180, and I'm so glad I did. 22 pounds down, over 22 inches down, and I feel great. I want that for you as well. Save 35% on their programs currently and mention the Annie Fry Show when you reach out to them. All of the details in their 6 locations on their website at myslim180.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon, and if you're looking to get the exterior of your home or business repainted, CertaPro's expert painters can help. They focus on the power of timeliness, the power of inspiration, the power of doing it right, the power of localness, the power of minimal disruption. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated and can help make your home or business look amazing. Get your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. I've hired CertaPro for more than a decade because the work is amazing. For your home or business and the power of pro, CertaPro painters.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AA MCO.
Feeling the pinch of higher prices?
Golden Oak Lending can save you money with their low fixed rates.
James Hawkins here, president of Golden Oak. You can offset today's high prices by using the low interest equity in your home to pay off credit cards, make home improvements, or simply put cold hard cash back in your pocket.
Start saving money and skip 2 mortgage payments. Call 314-567-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Landing, short my blues.
NMLS 114937.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
When did elections become a game? Like hide and seek for grown-ups. Tricky grown-ups. Look at Rodney Davis. Do you ever hear Davis talk about his votes to send your tax dollars to Planned Parenthood? True. Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood. 4 times. 4 times Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood, the biggest abortion provider in the country. You won't find that on his campaign website. See? Hide and seek. There's more. Davis once bragged, quote, "I can't wait to work with Nancy Pelosi." And then Davis voted with Pelosi 1,077 times. Rodney Davis. You know his game. Davis talks like a Republican here and votes like a Democrat in Washington. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, copac.us, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Conservative Outsider PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gsLhonorflight.org, and for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Bringing you up-to-the-minute traffic like nobody else. Sue Thomas and dependable traffic, driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Singing about how good they love.
Man, it's weird sitting here watching this January 6th commission all day today. They're so slimy because all of the people. Like, this is Cassidy Hutchins who's testifying all day today. That what happens behind the scenes of these things is that she goes, well, okay, I will say blah blah blah, and they know what they're going to say ahead of time. Obviously, they're not going to put her up there if they don't. So they know what she's going to say, and they cut deals. And I don't know if it's exclusive to her, but this is the kind of thing that happens all the time. That they cut deals and say, well, I'll speak on this if you'll give me a full day, because this will launch my career elsewhere. And, it's not even about this. And Brad, you said we were looking at tweets between Sean Hannity and Kayleigh McEnany, which have nothing to do with Trump or an insurrection. They're just talking about the day of. And so much of this evidence, it is intended to do the exact same thing as Russiagate, which is, oh man, there's a lot here. We're going to focus on it, try to make you focus on it, and America focus on it. And people think that this guy, who's probably going to be the Republican nominee in 2024, is as corrupt as possible, as if they hadn't done that much already. But they're using a time period where he's not even announced that he's running to continue to do it, just to win political games.
Yeah. I don't know. I watched this, and it's people watching two different movies on the same screen. Because for people that are convinced that Donald Trump planned January 6th, they look at all this stuff and they just confirms everything that they already thought and believed. And for the people that think that he had nothing to do with it, they look at it and they say, yep, this just confirms everything that I thought that I already knew.
Well, everybody does that. I don't think that's exclusive to just these hearings or to Democrats or Republicans.
Right.
Everybody does that. I mean, I will read on Twitter or some sort of news site, somebody saying, oh, look at this evidence we found of blank, fill it in, whatever it is that would be something that's within my wheelhouse. Oh, I knew it. It's just, it's like they're feeding confirmation bias.
But you're intellectually honest enough to look at it whenever the evidence says that when they say this is evidence of this, and you watch it or listen to it or read it or whatever, and you're like, well, sometimes it's not.
Right. No, that's very true. And I mean, some of that comes from the laptop, because there are things that come from the laptop that you're like, yeah, that's squishy, that's gross, that's weird, but it's not necessarily treason.
Right.
It's just, it's bad.
Right.
But we look at it all as like painting this cornucopia picture of this really intellectually dishonest, or at least publicly dishonest person, Joe Biden. And part of that's true. But there are certain things in there that really do warrant
this is true.
Investigation. I asked Mary Miller about that. If you want to hear what is on the docket for Republican takeover of Congress and what they would be looking at, I asked her that very question of investigations like this, because this January 6th commission, that stuff's not going to happen come January.
Right.
We're not going to see that for a couple more years, especially if Republicans take over the Senate. But I mentioned in the last segment also that I've got a couple of impersonations here. And I'm going to play the first one, and it's actually a little more fun to see the person doing it, because you hear the voice and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds exactly like Kamala. But you see the person doing it and it looks nothing like Kamala. And it adds an element to it. But I will play at least a portion of this and see if you can see what she's doing here.
If you wake up, okay, and don't want to smile, if it takes a little while, okay, listen, open your eyes. Okay. And look at the day. Okay. You gotta look at the day. You do. And listen, you'll see things in a different way.
So she's quoting Fleetwood Mac. She's like it's a policy speech, but it's when I hear it, I think that's pretty good. But when you see it, she is a middle-aged blonde white woman doing this voice, and you're like, wow, that's really accurate. And I think, listen, I'll play the rest of this here because it's the laugh that does it.
Yeah.
When she's talking, you're like, okay, that's pretty good. But when she does the laugh, you're like, wow, that is spot on.
Okay. Listen, full stop. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Okay. Don't stop because it'll soon be here. Okay. It'll soon be here. It'll be here better than before. Okay. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone. Okay. It's gone.
I didn't even notice that somebody put Fleetwood Mac behind that clip.
Yeah.
I was listening to it on my phone. I couldn't hear that. I thought that was pretty good, especially if you see her doing it. It's really even more entertaining. But it got me thinking. That's probably the best impersonation of Kamala that I've heard. And maybe there's better ones out there, but I haven't heard anybody. That's what's so sad. The people who are in these public positions, who are on Saturday Night Live and things like that, they don't really try to do the impersonations anymore.
Right.
Because you had a generation.
They just dress them up like them and send them out there to be themselves.
Exactly. And I mean, Chevy Chase did that really well, but he was deliberately not even trying to be Gerald Ford.
Right.
And that was the bit. But now they just kind of dress them up. And there used to be a whole industry that, like, whenever there was a new president or major public figure, Saturday Night Live had to go through auditions internally and externally to find who's going to play that person. They don't really even have a good Biden. The best Biden I've heard, and we played this a while back, but Brad dug it up for me, was Dana Carvey doing Joe Biden. Here it is.
Come on, folks. Let's get real. I'm not kidding around here. You know, we got to do the thing. We did Barack. We did the deal, And, my dad, lost his job in Scranton. No joke. No joke. I'm not being a wise guy here. I said, Pops, why'd you lose? He said, Joe, I did. My mom said, that's the cookie, that crumbles. She says, what do it?
There's a little more I'll play, but the fact that he stumbles, I don't even know if he intended to or if that was part of the bit.
I think it was part of the bit, which makes it that much better.
It's really, really good. Here's the rest of it.
Here's the deal. Number one, the thing that they said. Come on. Number two, the two-part. Folks, come on. I'm not kidding around. No rocket science. Here's the deal. Come on now. Now that he knew it floated. He told Bob Woodward. It's Joanne Woodward. He told Bob Redford. Excuse me. I think, but folks, I care. I care a lot. People are suffering, and I do. And my mother said, that's the way the cookie is. And it goes those places.
It's so good. The thing about Dana Carvey is that it's almost like he can impersonate anybody.
Yes.
And there's just not anybody like that anymore. I mean, he's still around, so it's not like he's gone, but he's not. He was the biggest name in comedy for probably at least 5 to 7 years. Nobody could touch Dana Carvey. His movie career went nowhere. Isn't that weird?
Oh, what was the Master of Disguise? Was that his movie?
That was Turtle.
Yeah, that was just on the other day. I was watching. I was like,
I don't necessarily dislike any of his movies, but I've noticed in watching him, so in interviews that he does, and I bet it was the same here, he actually is doing written material so specifically that he can't improv real well. So it's an interesting little caveat to him that being on Saturday Night Live, obviously there's an improv element, but it's all scripted. But when he would do interviews on Conan and Letterman and stuff, he would bring up, you can tell, like if you learn sort of the art form of it, you can tell when people are bringing material and when they're just sitting down and they have no agenda. Right. And I am always more entertained by the people who have absolutely no idea what they're going to say. And then Letterman asked them a question and you didn't know where it was going.
They answer as the person. Like Frank Caliendo, is he?
Oh, you're talking about impersonations in general? Yeah, he's really good. But I'm not talking about impersonations. I'm talking about Dana Carvey.
Oh, okay.
where he would sit down and Dana would give him a question, ask me this question, and then I'll respond and do a bit. So I always didn't love that because I felt like I was just basically getting his stand-up, a piece of his stand-up material. Yeah. And you ever hear the story about him and Mike Myers and Dr. Evil?
No.
Oh, really? So Dr. Evil, if you can tell, is an impersonation of Lorne Michaels.
Okay.
So if you know how Lorne Michaels speaks really slow and blah, blah, blah. And so the Dr. Evil character was based on Lorne Michaels.
Okay.
But it wasn't just Mike Myers figuring out, oh, I'm going to do this character, which is based on Lorne Michaels. He actually based it. And obviously Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, good friends, Wayne's World. They've done a lot together.
Right.
The claim was that Mike Myers stole that bit from Dana Carvey, that Dana Carvey used to impersonate Lorne Michaels and call him Dr. Evil. Like he was the boss, so they call him Dr. Evil, you know? And so he'd say, oh, I don't know, Mike. I don't know if you're feeling verklempt is going to make the show this week. And so Mike Myers took that and made it into the character Dr. Evil. Apparently it caused a bit of a rift between them for a while. So weird stories about Dana Carvey, I know. But yeah, if you ever watch an interview with him, you'd see that it's all set up ahead of time. And it's one of the reasons that I always was like, oh, man, but you're so much better. This Dana Carvey show was so good. Did you watch the Dana Carvey show?
Yeah, for a period.
I was so young when it came on that my parents wouldn't. It was when he came out and was breastfeeding kittens and puppies on the first episode, my parents were like, no,
you're done.
You can't watch this. And I started watching it in college and was like, oh my gosh, this is genius. And they only did 8 episodes of it because they got so hardcore canceled that the network, ABC, was like, nope. Pepsi had bought a sponsorship on that show. Weird story. And after the first week was like, we cannot have our name associated with this show anymore. So they switched it to Mountain Dew the second week, then Mug Root Beer. It's all the same company.
Right.
They just were trying to switch it so they didn't have any association with the show. The last episode was sponsored by a Chinese restaurant in New York.
That's fantastic.
No joke. Anyway, more Andy Fry Show coming up around the break.
It's really simple. I really like the people at Air Comfort Service. And I'm not just talking about Corey Malone, who's a longtime friend and supporter of 97.1 FM, who's been a longtime supporter of me and of my show. Corey has been fantastic, but it just goes so far from the top into the entire company. Air Comfort Service has replaced the furnace in my home, and I know it's pretty awful to think about furnaces right now, but those air conditioners, they need to be working properly. And when ours wasn't working, I didn't consider going anywhere else. I didn't consider trying to get somebody who could come do it for the cheapest possible rate that anybody could possibly do, because you know what? I have a family that I need to keep in our comfort zone, and I wanted to go with the people who I trusted the most. That's simple. That's Air Comfort Service. And the people who came to my house, the guys I got to meet who serviced our house, top-notch people. If you have a need in your future for heating, air conditioning, or the like, I want you to reach out to them, 314-513-0091, 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group. I'm proud to say we are a family business. Through innovative financial tools, my nephew Bob and I are committed to making sure your retirement nest egg is kept safe from market declines. As a matter of fact, we have never lost a dime of our clients' money, and we won't lose any of yours either.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, and the secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. As we look ahead at the likelihood of increasing volatility in the market, it's important that you protect your nest egg from market losses, as that's the engine that drives your retirement income.
Our family would like to help your family retire comfortably and keep your retirement safe and secure. Call us now for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of my second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 36 years. Call us now, 314-993-9494, or online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Attention men. Lately, you've been hearing a lot about wave therapy as a new and revolutionary cure for erectile dysfunction. But did you know the St. Louis Men's Clinic has provided wave therapy since 2017? Wave therapy is a non-invasive, pain-free treatment for ED, but it's not new, nor does it cure ED. In fact, if you've had prostate cancer, wave therapy is not a solution. So before spending too much for a treatment that may not work, call the experienced and knowledgeable staff at the St. Louis Men's Clinic. Their doctors will discuss the available treatment options and develop a customized plan just for you. Get the facts on wave therapy and the treatments for erectile dysfunction. Call the St. Louis Men's Clinic today and schedule a $25 wave therapy session and private consultation. Yeah, that's $25. Call the St. Louis Men's Clinic at 314-828-2600 or visit stlmensclinic.com. Locally owned and operated and a proud partner of the St. Louis Cardinals.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
This is a Fox News alert. A long sentence tied to an infamous sex abuse case on Lisa Brady. The woman convicted of helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse teenage girls for years has just been sentenced to 20 years in prison. Ghislaine Maxwell denied abusing anyone or being Epstein's accomplice, and in court called it the greatest regret of her life that she ever met him. She was convicted in a sex trafficking case after Epstein killed himself in prison while awaiting trial. Again, Ghislaine Maxwell just sentenced to 20 years in prison. Also just getting word that Turkey agrees to drop its opposition to Sweden and Finland joining NATO. Applications prompted by Russia's war in Ukraine, which tops the agenda for a NATO meeting in Spain, where leaders, including President Biden, are condemning Russia's president.
Sometimes I think Putin's objective is just to literally change the entire culture, wipe out the culture of Ukraine, the kinds of actions he's taking.
Meantime, President Biden is due to meet with Turkey's leader on the summit's sidelines tomorrow. A former White House aide tells the Capitol Riot Committee President Trump was told about armed people at the rally.
Secret Service sweeps found weapons on individuals ahead of a rally outside the White House on January 6th, information that was shared with former President Trump. Cassidy Hutchinson testified.
Something to the effect of, take the effing mags away. They're not here to hurt me. Let them in. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol after the rally's over.
Hutchinson was a top aide to former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. She told the committee intelligence and Homeland Security officials had raised concerns about security in the days before January 6th.
Fox's Jared Halpern on Capitol Hill, the former president, posting on social media that he hardly knows who Hutchinson is, but he calls her bad news and says he's heard negative things about her. America is listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Giving it your all on the court? Make sure you have the right partner by your side. Highland's Leg Cramps Quick Dissolve Tablets. America's #1 leg cramp relief solution for over 10 years. No water needed, no stomach upset, just fast, effective relief. Also available in caplets. Highland's Leg Cramps. To healthy competition and beyond. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Lots of sunshine, pleasant temperatures, pleasant humidity levels, 85 for the high. That is a touch below average. Tonight, clear skies, beautiful evening, 62 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny, great morning. Now it's a little warmer, a little more humid Wednesday afternoon, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. 95 with tons of humidity back Thursday and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's happening right here, right now.
And in California, there are reports of protesters blocking I-110 and throwing sticks at cars.
Reversing the emancipation of women in every way.
Pack the courts if they're trying to pack our wombs, you know?
Right here, right now.
They hate diversity. They want uniformity. This is part of their ongoing attempt to delegitimize the court so that they can pack the court.
97.1 FM Talk.
Parents, remember this website. Write it down, make a plan to visit. www.showmeschooloptions.org. Have you always wanted to send your child to private school? If they attend a public school district, or if they're coming in or just out of kindergarten, now may be your chance to receive up to $6,375 per child per year to apply towards private school tuition for this fall. But time is running out. The next school year is around the corner. Go to www.showmeschooloptions.org to learn more about Missouri's Scholars Program. It's new, it's free, it's a chance to invest in your child's future. The Missouri Scholars Program can be used for private school, homeschool, tutoring, therapy, and more. There's nothing more important you can do for your child's future this summer. Go to www.showmeschooloptions.org now. There could be $6,375 just waiting to be claimed. Tell your friends too. www.showmeschooloptions.org. Sign up and see. It's free. And who doesn't like free right about now?
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Summertime is no time to run out of energy, guys, and Victory Men's Health can help. Mark Cox here. Book your appointment today at any of their 3 locations. They're now in Wing Haven in O'Fallon, Missouri. They're in Town and Country in the original location in O'Fallon, Illinois. Victory Men's Health has 400 plus 5-star Google reviews. There isn't another men's clinic in town that comes close to that kind of rating. Book your appointment today online at victorymenshealth.com.
When you discover a new favorite bottle of Cabernet or bourbon at Total Wine, you'll discover a whole lot more. So explore the wondrous selection and totally low prices at TotalWine.com, where you'll love what you find. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly, B21.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere. Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
This is the Annie Fry Show. I am not Annie Fry. I am Ryan Wiggins in for Annie Fry for a couple days here. Today is the Illinois primary, so we've been talking about that quite a bit. And a bit of a story for you here. Last week, a little bit, I guess this is it's half on air, half behind the scenes. So you'll know what I'm talking about if you listen exclusively. If you don't, I'll fill you in. So last week, Annie had on a guest named Robert Cahaley. And he is from the Trafalgar Group polling institution that I follow very closely because there are very few accurate pollsters. And it's not that every one of their polls is accurate. They are one of the most accurate. He dropped a bomb on the air that when he said it, we all looked at each other like, oh, I didn't know that. All of a sudden, we all got very interested in the Illinois Senate race because we're talking about governor's race. That's one that we think the GOP actually can win. Senate race has been kind of like, Tammy Duckworth. It's probably going to be Tammy Duckworth. He said, no, she's vulnerable. We all went, oh, okay. And then we started looking at their polling, and there are about 7 candidates there that even if you are way into politics in Illinois, you may not know their names. So let's have one of them on. How about that? That's what we said. Matt Dubiel is on the phone with us, and he is joining the Andy Fry Show for the first time. Matt, thanks for being here.
Hey, guys. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Brad. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So as you probably have done, we're looking at polls, and we're saying, okay, we got about 7 candidates here. And among the polls, 50% of everybody they asked is undecided, which means that you could make a strong case to be the leading candidate right now. So what's the number one issue, Matt, that you are bringing to voters and saying, this is why we need a Republican senator in Illinois?
Well, the number one issue for Americans and voters, from what I'm seeing, is always going to be the economy, especially when they've demolished it like they have. But the number one differentiator, when you're looking at a Matt Dubiel for United States Senate versus the other 6, is the fact that I am the one that's focused on families and children, not just medical freedom for children, but school choice for children. I'm a dad. I'm a father of 4, regular guy. I was part of the lawsuit against Governor Pritzker to get my kids mask-free in school. And I realized very quickly in that process that this fight is not over, and there's a lull right now. But this stuff is coming back, and we need patriots and level-headed, common-sense parents representing other parents. And that's not happening from Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. I refer to them as Dick and Duck. Dick and Duck have got to go.
That's great. Matt, is that why you got in the race? I mean, you're not in politics before that. Are you? Is it the masking? Is it the medical tyranny state that Illinois became for 2 years that got you involved?
That's part of it. I mean, it's also the CRT, and I've been battling with my kids for the last 10 years, not with them, but with them. I have teenagers, so maybe sometimes with them, but mostly with the schools and the curriculum and the admin. These schools, we moved to this town in the suburbs called Naperville, and we moved here for lower taxes and better schools, and we're getting neither. And in the meantime, everybody is making parents like me feel wrong. I'm sick of feeling wrong. And I learned that nobody is representing us. And I started watching and looking at Tammy Duckworth's tweets and Dick Durbin's tweets. And these people are representing a woke, corporatist, big pharma agenda. And they're not representing us to Washington. And they're definitely not representing us back home. So I realized I got to get into this, because the other candidates that were already in it, when I looked at it, were not representing or even offering to represent we, the parents, at all.
So, Matt, are you from the Chicago suburbs originally? And that's where you live now?
I grew up in Downers Grove. Yeah, it's about 20 miles outside Chicago. I'm not a city guy at all. I've never really been big into the city. I grew up in Downers. We moved to Naperville, which is about, even further west, but we live in Will County. So to all the Chicago people, that's we might as well be downstate to them.
Yeah, exactly. And we are downstate. So you're talking to a lot of downstate voters right now who have felt that, downstate is a completely different place than Chicago. What is the temperature like in northern Illinois right now? Is the average person you're talking to who's maybe voting in this primary and certainly going to vote in the general election, are they still thinking about what happened during COVID, whether it's to their kids or to themselves, whether it be vaccine mandates, things like that, businesses closing? Is that still a top issue where you are?
It is for me and other families that I have talked to that we meet at events for other candidates. It is not top of mind. I mean, the school board meetings are, a ghost town, much like the polling places today. Chicago and the media in Chicago and the Illinois GOP, for that matter, which has blocked Matt Dubiel on Twitter, because I've been vocal against their Irvin agenda and their Ken Griffin agenda. They're all focused on this governor's race because that's where all the money is. And you mentioned that poll. I knew this going into this. Tammy Duckworth is the weakest link. She is vulnerable. The American people, the veterans, the mothers, everybody is disenfranchised with her representation and Dick Durbin's. And what I keep telling people is, you vote for Matt Dubiel, I will beat Tammy Duckworth. And once we get her out, everyone will believe Illinois has the power and the people have the power, and we can get Dick Durbin next. And we start making some real change in Illinois when that happens.
Matt, I got to tell you, Matt Dubiel on the phone with us. He's a candidate for the GOP side of the primary here for Senate in Illinois. I got to tell you, I think it was Brad that met you at the Trump rally, right? And that's how we got connected?
Yeah, so I went to the Trump rally. My daughter wanted to see Trump. She just turned 18. She's a new voter. But I went down there to meet, not to kiss the ring of Donald Trump, but to meet with voters. And I wanted to meet with these, that's a big concentration of a lot of people from around Illinois. And what I found out there was all these other candidates were in the VIP section. I had, I'm in the radio business, so I had to get a media pass so I could be in the media area. That's where I saw Brad, and I had to sort of work it from the inside out because I'm not part of the cool club of candidates.
You know what? And that's actually one of the reasons when Brad said, do you want to have Matt Dubiel on? I said, well, I don't know much about him. And I watched some of your campaign videos and things. And I thought, gosh, when I haven't heard of somebody, when you watch their materials, they're very rehearsed. They know exactly what they're going to say going into the video. When I watched you, I thought, this guy knows how to handle media. And to me, that is one big aspect of a candidate, especially for such a large race, that you would have to, if you became the candidate, you would be doing a ton of media. And I thought, gosh, you're pretty good at it. So you have a radio background, right?
I do have a radio background. And I think that you bring up a really good point, Ryan, because not only do you have to, as the senator, do you have to be able to speak to the media, but you have to be able to talk to people, regular people. So I'm a regular person, like we're dealing, I was at Costco the other day, we're doing regular stuff, but then you have to be able to communicate effectively on the Senate floor and with your contemporaries in the Capitol, and then be able to go to a school board meeting. And you've got to be able to take really complicated things and understand them, and then try and, sort of bridge the gap between voters and companies and the legislature and the media. And so I think when people watch and they look at these forums, and I tape them all with all the candidates, you'll see that there's one candidate that can do all that. And I'm the guy that can beat Tammy. I can debate with her. I can go toe to toe with her. And I can go toe to toe with these very aggressive liberal media types.
Yeah, Matt, and I want to ask you this question. It's one that I actually would love to just sort of sit here and pontificate on myself, but I want to ask it of you because you're running for Senate in Illinois. How important is it in a year where you're probably going to see a high watermark for Republicans? How important would it be to take a Senate seat in Illinois that would then be held by a Republican for 6 years?
Another great point, because the Senate is supposed to be the bedrock of stability for our government. These Congress people are fashionable. They come in and out every 2 years. You got the executive branch, 4 years. Senate is the bedrock. So we get a Republican in there, really a conservative is what I am. Somebody who supports the Constitution, somebody stands up for common sense, somebody that believes that the money for the student should follow the student, somebody that believes in a secure border. And we start to change the perception in Illinois of what's possible and in the media landscape. And they stop ignoring Illinois and treating it like flyover country or like it's a blue state. It should be treated like a swing state at worst. And I think at best, it's going to start to get treated like what it is, which is a middle American state that is really based on conservative values and always has been.
Matt, before we run out of time with you, Matt Dubiel on the phone with us. He is a contender for the Senate seat in Illinois GOP side. There are 6 other candidates plus yourself: Peggy Hubbard, Kathy Salvi, Bobby Pitton, Casey Chaybeck, Matt Dubiel. That's you. Yep. Julie Tillman, and Anthony W. Williams. What sets you apart as people? A lot of people probably have already voted, but I myself am going to vote this afternoon. A lot of people probably wait until after work. What sets you apart? Why should they vote for you?
There is no one else that's running in this race that is forward thinking about true America First principles, married with family first principles and has a general idea of what's coming and is talking about it. And I'm talking about the World Economic Forum. I'm talking about the World Health Organization. I'm talking about ESG. All of those things are we're being surrounded in the United States of America, and our government is colluding with the media, not you guys, but you know the media I'm talking about. Talk radio is the last bastion of free speech, really. And big tech and electric this and electric that, and they're working to bring our speech, our commerce, and our medical systems into one. And no one else in this race is even thinking about that and how it relates to the future of our world. This is the last stand for freedom for Americans. And we need people in place, like you pointed out, for the next 6 years that are thinking about environmental, social governance, and all of these other things we have to fight against. And none of the other candidates are even plugged into it. And they definitely can't communicate it to everyday Americans, the media, and on the Senate floor.
Well, Matt Dubiel, thank you for your time talking to St. Louis and Southern Illinois here on a very big day, Illinois primary day. Thanks for carving out some time for us.
Thanks, guys. I want to just tell everyone listening, I give out my number. If you have any questions about specific issues, 2A, 1A, whatever, text me directly. I answer all the texts, 312-847-1987. It's me. It comes to my phone, 312-847-1987. You can ask me anything, and nothing is off the table. And I really appreciate the time.
That you are way braver than me. I have never done that on the radio. That's incredible. All right. Well, you can text Matt, and you can also vote for him today in the primary if you want to. That is today. And we'll find out who's going to be the nominee as of tomorrow, who's going to be facing off against Tammy Duckworth. Of course, on the governor's side, we a lot of big names we've been talking about quite a bit. But on that Senate side, man, I'm looking at this main poll here, and there's been a couple others since then, but they're all about in line. And this was about 2 weeks ago now. So things may have shifted in that time because in a primary, people do wait until the last minute to decide. I haven't even decided. I mean, I'm deciding with you as we're talking to Matt right there. But Peggy Hubbard and Kathy Salvi are kind of at the top. And then you have Bobby Pitton, Casey Chebeck, and Matt Dubiel right there in kind of the second tier. So, but here's the thing. Usually you look at that and you go, okay, well, if he's in that second tier of polling, then it's probably going to be one of those top two. Not in this race, because literally 50% of the people polled didn't know who they were going to vote for yet. So anybody could emerge. Literally any name on that list could emerge as the nominee.
The thing to me that is so crazy about that, and it's partially because we didn't realize how vulnerable Duckworth is that race has been so under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it didn't click on our radar until Cahaley had said that.
Right, because we didn't think that there's not much attention, there's not much spotlight being put on it. Part of that is us. We can put a spotlight on it, but we can only do so much. There's a machine that works to, promote and then send out the mailers that you get and all that stuff that really haven't seen much about this race. But all of a sudden, hey, maybe it is a race. I guess we'll see. And we will see who emerges as the candidate as of tonight. We'll be talking about that all day tomorrow. Well, I won't talk about it all day. I'll definitely tell you who it is, though. We'll be following all of the Illinois primary races tonight and tomorrow. So keep it here. Annie Fry Show. My name is Ryan Wiggins. More coming up.
Blink, you might miss it. See, we got a right to just love it or leave it. You find it and keep it, because it ain't every day you get the chance to say.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Like a gun, brighter than the sun. Oh, we could be stars falling from the sky, shining how we want, brighter than the sun.
Second Amendment Radio is a staple of solid firearm information on 97.1 every weekend. Saturday from 3 to 4 and Sunday from noon to 1. It's Second Amendment Radio and the great outdoors. 97.1 FM Talk.
This is Mark Cox for my trusted friend and realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the agent I've been recommending for years now. Take my recommendation and call her, because if you're planning to sell your home in this crazy seller's market, you don't want to leave a single dollar on the table. You're going to love working with Gloria, and here's why. She'll guarantee to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it. Guaranteed in writing. Her secret, well, she already has the buyers. Thousands of them looking for homes in your price range in your neighborhood. Lawrence and Shelby sold their St. Louis home in just 3 days at $17,000 over asking price with multiple offers. That's when their previous agent had produced 0 results. They chose Gloria. You can too. Call her today at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
A bad team facing a good team is never completely out of it.
Nick Costos, co-host of You Better You Bet, 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern on the BetQL network.
There's 162 games in the season. The best teams are going to lose 60-plus times, and the worst teams are going to win 60-plus times. Each night is its own individual entity. That's what makes betting on the baseball regular season so much fun.
All the insight you need to bet smarter is at BetQL.com. And listen to You Better You Bet with Nick Costos and Ken Barkley, streaming weekdays from 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern on Odyssey.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Pineview Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now. 314-530-7777.
Hi, Mark Goldstein here for Edwards Carpet. With prices on everything going up fast, now is the time to buy. Edwards Carpet's having our 4th of July sale now through July 10th, and you'll pay no tax. Get 50-ounce carpets guaranteed for 15 and 20 years, completely installed with pad for only $449 to $499 a square foot, and we move the furniture and pull up your old carpet free. 12 months interest-free financing, and you'll pay no tax. Edwards Carpet, Ellisville, De Pere, and St. Charles.
Come on down to Edwards Carpet Stores.
When did elections become a game? Like hide and seek for grown-ups. Tricky grown-ups. Look at Rodney Davis. Do you ever hear Davis talk about his votes to send your tax dollars to Planned Parenthood? True. Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood. 4 times. 4 times Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood, the biggest abortion provider in the country. You won't find that on his campaign website. See? Hide and seek. There's more. Davis once bragged, quote, "I can't wait to work with Nancy Pelosi." And then Davis voted with Pelosi 1,077 times. Rodney Davis. You know his game. Davis talks like a Republican here and votes like a Democrat in Washington. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, copac.us, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Conservative Outsider PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show.
You know the roof on fire.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Like the roof on fire. We go drink drinks and take shots until we fall out. Like the roof on fire. Now, baby, get my booty naked, take off all your clothes and light the roof on fire.
Whoa, Hannah. Hey, Hannah put the music. I didn't pick this.
I did.
Who is this?
This is Pitbull.
Oh, duh.
Mr. Worldwide.
Pitbull, man.
Was that a joke?
No, I didn't realize it when I said it. No, I wasn't joking. I wasn't joking. I was just thinking about him taking. Well, I wasn't thinking about him taking his clothes off. I'm not gonna say that.
You just did.
No, I was thinking about the line and thinking, oh man, that's a little risque for this show. We definitely do not ever.
We could have let that go, and you just went in all. It's like, let me point that out.
I gotta highlight it. Did you listen to the interview we just did with Matt Dubiel?
I did.
What'd you think?
I think he seems like a really good candidate. And when I called him, did I call him? Yeah,
yes.
I called him. He was really, really nice. And I think that's really telling about, these candidates.
That's good to know.
How they are off air.
Who's a jerk off air?
I'm not going to say, but there's really one in particular that is not great.
Now I really want to know.
I know who it is.
You do?
Oh yeah.
You both know?
I know who it is.
I don't know.
You don't know the story?
Maybe once you tell me.
This is a story for off air though.
Oh man. Oh, that's you guys' fault. It's certainly not mine. So yeah, at the end of that interview, he was like, I'm like, hey, what else do we need to know? And he just started listing off things about the World Health Organization stuff. And I'm like, okay, I think I might be in on you.
And he gave his phone number out.
Yeah, right. I've never heard anybody do that. I hope
great.
that doesn't backfire.
I
I
know.
hope people don't start pranking him or texting him. Don't
I
do
hope
that.
some of our spammers that are in our live chat don't.
I'm tempted to just text with him and just be like, what's up, dude? How's the night going? Like all night, just texting him because we're friends now.
Just because you're buddies.
How about this? Speaking of the temperature of the nation, a recent study, and this is the AP, so this isn't, some random organization. This is the AP. Studied 1.7 million voters. And I think that's all the voters who have switched parties within the last couple of years. 1.7 million, creeping up on 2 million voters who have switched parties. And that's in available states. So 43 states, they said 7, they couldn't get the data yet.
They're waiting on data from Ray Shed.
That's right. Ray's a little bit behind. If you didn't hear Hannah's America today on Wiggins America on the Andy Fry Show,
Hosted by Ryan Wiggins.
Hosted by Ryan Wiggins. Yeah. Do you want to guess what the percentage is, or how many have switched to Democrat versus Republican of the 1.7 million? Take a guess.
So we're guessing how many people switched their political parties?
Yeah. Well, to Republican.
Oh, to Republican.
Because of the 1.7 million, some switched to Democrat, some switched to Republican, some probably switched to Independent. But do you have a guess as to how many are switching to Republican?
700,000.
You're close.
Is that a percentage?
No, that's not a percentage.
I just thrown a
In
number.
fact, if you said a percentage, I'd go, can you make that a number? Because I don't know what it is.
A number. It's at a 1.7 million?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 750.
700,001.
Yeah.
Well, she did get closer than you. It's over 1 million. So the vast
Wow.
majority of people switching parties, and that means that of the people left in that poll, some of them are not necessarily switching to Democrat. They're switching to Independent, or they're switching to Green Party, switching to Libertarian Party, or other things. So that means the people switching to the Democrat Party is very, very low, and people switching to the Republican Party is very, very high.
Not surprising.
It's not really surprising, but it's just interesting to see it play out in actual data, from the AP. The party switches were most significant in the suburbs, where well-educated swing voters who didn't vote for President Trump in 2020 appear to be returning to the Republican Party, per the AP.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it says a lot about, I think, where we are as a nation and just the temperature. Because so many people are not going to switch parties. Even if you intend to vote for the other party, you wouldn't go through the trouble of doing it. You just wait until the general and vote for whoever you want.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's that many people out there actually switching. We were talking to John Hancock yesterday off air, I believe. I don't think we said this on air. And he said it's actually pretty unfortunate in some states that Republicans, and I would be in this camp of people who say, vote day of, don't mail in vote. I'm definitely there. But he said, actually, the problem is, excuse me, in some states, Republicans were outpacing Democrats in mail-in and early voting so much that it actually almost may backfire. But he was also talking about states like Florida, where I don't think it's really going to be much of an issue.
It's really not. I mean, we used to think of Florida as a swing state, purple. It is not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible to see play out right in front of our eyes. The Donald Trump effect, I guess you could say, but really just the change of the electorate.
Well, I'm old enough to remember. It's like, well, we'll see how Missouri goes, and how Missouri goes, that's how the presidential election go. Ohio was a bellwether, and all of those states now are pretty solid red.
You just said it. Ohio was a bellwether. They're not anymore. Ohio used to be the swing state. I mean, you said it. Missouri, for the entire century of the 1900s, was the bellwether.
Yeah.
Except for, what was it, 1956, Adlai Stevenson or something?
Yeah.
I think you guys talked about that yesterday. But up after 2000 and George W. Bush, the state was trending redder. Now that's happening in Ohio. That's happening in Florida. that's happening in really the entire Rust Belt. It hasn't gotten there yet, but we're talking about Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, even Minnesota. Now, Minnesota hasn't crossed that line yet, but they're trending in that direction. There are some states that have trended the opposite, and that would be Colorado, Virginia, up until recently, because Virginia has a Republican governor now. But there are states that have trended the opposite. And so that usually is what happens. But as far as the Electoral College goes, man, it used to benefit Democrats like crazy because there used to be the blue wall, which was the Rust Belt. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say all this? I mean, you're kind of newer to politics, so I'm not trying to use language.
No, but I understand what you're saying.
So these states, the Rust Belt is really moving farther and farther right every cycle. And it's crazy to see. I did an interview a couple weeks ago with a guy named Julio Gonzalez, who is a grassroots activist within the Latino community. And it's funny, we came in with Pitbull because Pitbull has said some of the things that are driving Latin voters to the Republican Party in droves. I mean, it's not happening slow. It's happening fast.
Yeah.
They bring up the word communism and they go, look, if you or your heritage, your family has come here in the last couple generations, you know exactly what I say when Democrats are doing what we fled.
Yeah.
And that is resonating very strongly. And I almost wish I could have played that interview back because it was very insightful with him talking about the sort of the way the GOP is handling this at a national level. What are you smiling about?
It's a comment on the chat. I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh, we got another off-air conversation.
Yes.
Okay. You guys, as we move out of the pandemic era, I wanted to bring up something that I found that I couldn't believe. And Brad keeps smiling at me, so that must mean he likes the story and he's not just
It's a great story, Ryan.
Yeah, you're not just reading the comments.
Nope.
Apparently somebody's lighting it up on the live stream, so you can get on there if you want to see whatever he's smiling about. Have you ever thought about taking a work vacation? As in, you're looking at me like, isn't that what a vacation is?
Work vacation.
I'm not going to vacation on work.
So the opposite of a staycation, where you take a vacation from work, but you stay at home, or you just kind of stay in the area. You actually go somewhere, but you stay working.
No.
Well, when we were broadcasting live, we were broadcasting during the pandemic. We actually could have done that because it didn't really matter where you're broadcasting from. You were at home.
I've heard of people doing that. Like, if I were to do it, I would probably take my laptop and do the live stream from like the Lake of the Ozarks or something.
Yeah.
And other people at the condos were doing that. They would work from home, but they'd be at the lake.
Tons of people did that specifically with the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
From St. Louis and Kansas City. I found this story that was a look at the best workcation location, and it surveyed all kinds of things from across the entire world about where you should go. Get this. Follow me here.
Oh boy.
Iceland Air did this study. Now, I bring that up because I've been to Iceland, of course. I love Iceland.
Don't like to toot your own.
And you were on TV once.
Oh yeah, I was on TV.
Not once. He was in the industry.
That's right. We in the industry, we call it the industry. Outside the industry, we say we were on TV. That's fine, Hannah. While I was in Iceland, by the way, I went by their one TV station that they have. And I was like, hey, what's up? I was on TV.
Yeah. You want me to tell you a story about a mummy?
They let me in.
Yeah.
Did they really?
They did.
Oh my gosh.
They let me in. I was like, I just wanted to see your facility because I thought it was going to be like a really podunk thing. And it would be kind of fun to see, like almost as a tourist. And they're like, yeah, you can come in. It was so state of the art. They put, I mean, it's not the population of all of Iceland is like the population of Columbia, Missouri.
Right.
It's not big. So half of the people that are in the country at any given time are tourists. And so I'm sure they're just used to idiots like me knocking on the door and just being like, I don't care, whatever. So I walk in and I'm like expecting to see boards hanging and, drips into buckets. And it is unbelievable. I'm like, every dollar you must have spent in this country went into this TV studio. And they were producing stuff that was just awful. I watched them doing those like dance competition on TV while it was happening. And I'm like, man, this looks amazing. But the people dancing, the population is not very big. So you're finding the absolute best you can find out of 200,000 people. And it's just not that great. Sorry.
It's like, this is the best production of a horrible content I've ever seen.
Hannah's shaking her head because I'm making fun of dancers.
No, that's not why I'm shaking my head. How do we go from staycations to bad production dancing in Iceland?
Because
Wiggins America.
Because it's Wiggins
Buckle
America.
up.
That's right. Because it's Iceland Air. They did the study on the workations.
Okay.
So I got off
I would love to know where the top places are.
So it's just one. They were looking at the absolute best one. The study examined 150 cities around the entire world for various factors related to a good workcation. They uncovered the best ones and even the best one. And you're going to be surprised at where it is. They used quality of life, internet speed, air pollution, cost of living, healthcare, and safety.
Ooh.
Do you want to take? It's in the United States.
It's in the United States because I was going to say Denmark or in the Netherlands.
That's a great guess. I would think somewhere that's, you think like European pretty or something like that, where they're going to have good internet.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. It's not European pretty at all.
What is it?
It's like Daytona Beach or something. Isn't
No,
it?
no. This study from Iceland Air determined the absolute best place you could do a workcation in the entire world, Kansas City, Missouri.
What?
No kidding. For those unfamiliar with Kansas City, it's a metro area on Missouri's western edge, straddling the border with the state of Kansas, known for barbecue, jazz heritage, and fountains. It ranks the highest on Iceland Air's factors than any of the 150 cities worldwide that the airline examined.
Wow.
I can't believe.
Yeah.
Just down the road.
So
just jump on 70 and head on out there.
Clearly, we need to schedule a remote from beautiful, exotic Kansas City because we might be able to get that funded from the company. It's not that far.
Wow.
First, we ask for Iceland or Denmark. Then we do Kansas
So
City.
you over ask and then.
Exactly.
Oh,
that right there is the art of the deal.
I'm shocked.
And I've never really seen it work, but theoretically, the president said it would. So obviously it will. We got to ask big. So maybe next week we'll be in Iceland or Denmark or Kansas City, or we'll be here. I don't know exactly which.
Well,
but
Hannah won't be here, though.
Oh, Hannah's gone next week.
I am. I'm on vacation.
She'll be closer to Kansas City than we will be.
Yeah, I will be at the second best workcation location, Lake the Ozarks.
Are you telling me that you're going there after all we just did and you're not working from there?
No.
Unbelievable. Okay, fine. I hope the company's listening. We'll be right back. It's the Annie Fry Show. This is Ryan Wiggins.
I never am.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I'm on fire.
Fireball.
The Mark Reardon Show.
About 6% of couples who get divorced wind up remarrying each other.
6% seems higher than I would have expected. I don't know if I believe that. I think that's fake news.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
2022 is zipping by quickly, and if you haven't taken care of that big exterior painting job for your home or business, CertaPro Painters can help. I've depended on CertaPro for all my painting needs for more than a decade now. They talk about something called the Power of Pro, That's the power of timeliness, the power of doing it right, the power of minimal disruption. They work to make sure it's a smooth project from start to finish. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters, the power of pro. Check out CertaPro.com today.
Did you know there's a Space Channel?
One of the most exciting projects in the solar system.
Space Channel's got movies, original series, news, music, and so much more.
We have come to visit you in peace. Now we're getting to what they call the moment of truth.
Download the Space Channel app on your connected TVs and mobile devices. Just go to the App Store and search Space Channel. Do it now. It's free.
Space Channel. Front row seat to the final frontier.
There's a clear choice for Congress. Mary Miller voted with the Socialist Squad to defund our military. Like Joe Biden, Miller coddles criminal illegal immigrants and says it's our responsibility to care for them. Ann Miller knowingly hired a convicted pedophile to be her driver and allowed him to prowl our neighborhoods and put our kids at risk, abandoning our troops, giving aid to criminals who illegally cross our border. Embracing a convicted pedophile, fake conservative Mary Miller can't be trusted. Conservative Congressman Rodney Davis voted to strengthen our military and give our troops a pay raise. Davis voted for President Trump's wall and to cut off funding for sanctuary cities. And Davis is endorsed by the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police because he's tough on crime. Rodney Davis is the strong conservative that Illinois families can trust.
I'm Rodney Davis, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Rodney for Congress.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality, water heater, and AeroSeal duct sealing services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
Back in the car and back on the road. We're with you. Dependable traffic with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. You're listening to the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
How interested in true crime podcasts are you guys?
Ooh, I'm not, but my best friend at the gym is.
Man,
She loves
it's
those.
a huge industry now. Those things, they become TV shows. They are very, very popular.
I don't like hearing about like crime or nothing.
I don't
about
like
that.
whenever it's murders, but like if it's theft or like a big bank heist or something like that. Like who's the guy that jumped out of the airplane in like Oregon or whatever?
Yeah, Jimmy Smith.
No. It's like two letters for his first name, and anyway, he jumped out.
JJ Smitherton?
No. He jumped out, robbed like $1 million from the plane, jumped out of the plane, and they're like, what happened to him? Because he
I do
disappeared.
know that story.
Yeah.
that is interesting.
Yeah, and it's not whatever that nonsense you were saying.
Look up JJ Smitherton, you'll find it.
So true crime podcast.
Yeah, so I've always thought that maybe I should try to host a true crime podcast, but I think I'd be really bad at it. But that may be better. This is a true crime. I stumbled across this and I'm like, oh man, maybe this could be my first episode of my podcast. Here's the thing. And I'm trying to tell, here's the art to this is that you can't just start with the solution or with here's what we think's going on. You got to paint a picture real slow, right? And I'm not very good at that.
Can you do the voice though?
What's the voice?
You know, the low voice where he talks.
J.J. Smitherton.
Yeah, it's
jumped out of a plane into Oregon. Nobody knows where he landed. That's not bad, right?
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, so here I'm going to try to do this. Speculation has swirled over the cause. Oh, I'll do the voice. Over the cause of a tragedy in South Africa. And this is all true, okay? I'm reading this from an actual news story.
Okay.
This just happened in a town called East London in East Cape of South Africa. On Sunday morning, police received a call that there were lifeless bodies strewn around a nightclub. So the police show up. They walk into a very grim scene where there are 22. At the time there weren't 22. There were about 17 dead, basically kids. They weren't, I mean, they were right at the edge of adulthood. They're right around 18. A bunch of them, they were all coming off of midterms and they were celebrating at this club. They were too young to be there, first of all. I think they were there illegally.
Okay.
But they walk in and there's just these kids' dead bodies everywhere, teenagers. So they start looking into and interviewing people, trying to find out why did this happen? What happened? Excuse me. Their first theory was that this was a stampede, that somebody had yelled fire or something happened and people started running out and they got crushed or they got trampled. Well, the more they interviewed people, the more they found out, well, there was some dancing and people were definitely like crowded in there, but there wasn't a stampede. They wouldn't have crushed anybody, let alone 17 people.
Right.
So here's another aspect of this. So I'm doing pretty good, right? I'm bringing you the information slowly. So another aspect of this is that of those 17, they had 3 more who died on the way to the hospital. So they knew something was going on. They called an Uber, they called a friend, and they died either in the car or once they got to the hospital. So it's not some sudden event. They knew something was happening. However, of the bodies that they started to identify, some of them in the club died, as they understand it, while dancing. So they were dancing, or they started to feel maybe a little bit funky and they laid down on one of the couches that was in there and they just died. So some of them knew something was up and called an ambulance or called a friend to get me out of here. Some of them had no idea. Any theories as to what happened now?
Gas leak. They got drugged.
Carbon monoxide. Bad drugs.
Here is where I'm not very good at telling the story.
Okay.
Of the possible causes of death, you just said all of them, and I don't know what it is. So we're gonna have to wait on the other side of this true crime podcast to find out what the answer is, because it's still a mystery. But I thought it was fascinating. I mean, it's tragic, but they have no idea. They don't know if it's a gas leak, because that's one of the possibilities, that something was in the air and they could tell, but some of the kids maybe didn't, and then just boom. Or that they were poisoned, but why those kids and not others? That's the big question. I don't know the answer.
Well, thanks for that, Ryan.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
True crime. We're not going to do anything. Unsolved Mysteries with Ryan Wiggins.
Do you consider this to be a crime?
Hey, pal, it's Dad. It's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
They keep finding more and more from Hunter's laptop, which, first of all, how do they keep finding more and more from that same laptop?
How much is in that laptop?
No
I just
kidding.
looked up at Fox News and saw his face and wanted
and that's
to
Miranda
throw up.
Devine right there.
Yeah, that's making the rounds right now. I wanted to play it before the end of the show here because we're really close to the end of it. But Biden is on. Gosh, can you imagine? He kept these things on his laptop and then lost the laptop. I mean, what a dope!
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's really amazing that this happened and that this stuff is out here. But the voicemail is about basically Joe Biden knowing about the business that he's got going on in China. You're talking about, for lack of a better way to put it, him buying Russian escorts for his son and funneling money into international places for Hunter. The problem is that up until now, Biden has continually said, I didn't know what my son was.
Right.
Yes, it was wrong. But no, they weren't trying to curry favor with me because I didn't even know it was happening. Well, this stuff comes out and you knew generally that wasn't true anyway.
Yeah.
Because why would China, a rich oligarch of China, pay $20 million or whatever it was to Hunter Biden?
To a junkie.
Yeah. With no expectation. Like, oh, you seem like a nice guy. How about some millions? Okay. You seem like a responsible guy. Here, take this money. Or why don't you sit on our Ukrainian oil board of directors? Like, it's ridiculous to think that didn't happen. But now there's direct evidence from this laptop that it did happen, despite the fact that 50 former CIA intelligence directors all came out and said that it wasn't. By the way, those people should absolutely be questioned on Capitol Hill once the Republicans take over.
Yeah.
Because that is not only a dereliction of duty, that is propagandizing your own country.
That's terrible.
That is fooling your citizens for a political party. That's what those people did because they had no idea or they knew it was real and lied about it. But regardless, now you got the current president of the United States who's embroiled in controversy, and the leadership of the parties that are now controlling Congress do not care. They're still investigating something that happened 2 years ago. What the heck is going on? But here's my silver line to this whole thing. I think everybody knows it. Everybody knows that this stuff is so politically driven now that I don't think anybody's fooled by it. I don't think anybody's walking away from the J6 Commission going, oh my gosh, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know that Trump was saying things about I didn't know any of these quotes that have come out. Everybody already knows all of it. And the problem is that anybody who's thinking, and I'm not talking about parties here, I'm talking about Americans who are just thinking about the country, going, look, if the president has financial ties, and I'm not talking about business ties, I'm talking about illegal money funneled through money laundering through your family. If that's happening, we should look into it.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about just Joe Biden. I'm talking about any president.
Anybody that has ties like
anybody. Like if you want to look at Trump's financial ties through Jared Kushner and Saudi Arabia, do it. Absolutely. Because that stuff should not impact foreign policy at all if you are a president. But they will look into Trump doing it. They will not ever look into the current president of the United States doing it, even though that scandal is way bigger than anything that was ever coming out of Russiagate. And everybody knows it. So anyway, thanks for being here today. I hope that you have gotten something out of the Illinois primary coverage that we've done today. Some of the candidates, it was great having them on. Of course, if you're in Illinois, don't forget to vote if you haven't yet. And we've got a great big show tomorrow. DeRoy Murdoch will be here, and we're working on a couple other guests about some topics that I think you'll find very, very fascinating. Some different stuff, but we'll see how that plays out. But I'll be here again tomorrow, and of course on Friday, John Hancock will be in on Thursday. So we got a lot of time together this week, a lot of time to go over everything that's happening today in the primary tomorrow. See you tomorrow. I'm Ryan Wiggins.
I'm not America's sweetheart. I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
I'm a martial artist, a pilot, mountain biker, hiker. The thing that brings me down is my feet. When my wife finally talked me into going into the Good Feet store,